seeing
Nhlamulo
as,
said he's
okay,
been
there's
requesting, so I don't know if we can just keep an eye for him.
Okay, what's his username? Okanye profile picture yakhe?
I have no idea, honestly. Sorry
Okay,
to
it's fine, but I don't see his request. I wonder what's his profile. But I see all the requests. I don't see any request that could be him unless he's got a different name. But it's fine. You can go ahead, Ometa. You
okay,
can
no, I've
maybe
got a
send him
question.
a message and ask Uguti,
What
what's
is
his
his username?
what's his profile?
Okay.
Okay, so it's the question is posed to both actually you guys. It's about this whole thing basically. I'm actually a voter. I think your check and okay, am I registered and all those things. Age is 35. But
you've
I'm at a
been saying I
point.
must accept you urgently. I thought you wanted to comment on what we are talking about. Okay, I got you, Nhlamulo. I sent you a
Yes,
request.
it is that because remember we're talking about the party itself. Ukuthi-ke, mina as a voter currently, I've been voting, right? But I'm at a point where I feel like it's pointless because all the parties are the same. So the difference is I wanted to
Okay,
hear
I'm gonna
from
bring you
guys.
back in, eh? Just give me 1 second because you're gonna take us off course. Nhlamulo, hello, Potom. Are you able to open your camera?
Ngisemnyameni la.
Hey, bana. Why is the Yamen?
Akunama light.
You're still having that problem.
Are you in
Yes,
the
it
rural
went back
areas?
to light off.
Is it?
No, Zile knows that from last night we had
Yeah.
problems with light. Yeah, and then they came
Problem.
back and went off again. Yeah.
Really?
Are you in
Shame.
Cape Town?
No, I'm in Johannesburg.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining. I've had already a time with Ututu and I've asked the question. So I don't know if you are able to just bring us in and share your vision. I was saying to Ututu, we listened to your presser yesterday and it felt like, I don't know, maybe we expected more. You know, maybe because Ututu was a little bit shy, she made you to hold back kancane. I mean, I don't know, but it felt like you guys got scared.
Come in, Lamza.
I think he doesn't have
Can you hear me?
network.
We can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the network is not great because of the lights, but no, I think I heard the question. No, yesterday was more than anything else to clear our names because there's always been this Dudu and Nhlamulo agenda, and that agenda has been aimed at driving a wedge between ourselves and the president. And to what extent, we don't know. We don't understand. But let's be honest. Some of the things that we're even hearing today is that, as per the things that we've said yesterday, people are trying to hijack the party. Dudu actually said yesterday, she didn't make herself a signatory to whether it be SIPC, an accounting office at IEC. It was a decision, a collective decision that was made. But the question is, why do you want to remove Ututu? And we've seen similar incidences even last year, where the former SG wanted to remove Ututu from being an accounting officer without even telling the president or the national officials. He just sent an email to the CEO of the IEC to say that he's now going to be the accounting officer. Now, the problem with that is that it was going to now make that particular person control and run the party. And that person would own the party. So in other words, President Zuma would not be the leader of the party when it comes to IEC. So these are things that we find ourselves having to intervene in because they abuse in certain people that come into these roles of SG. They abuse their responsibilities and their roles, for their own nefarious agendas. And they don't like the fact that Ututu is there to say, no, but hold on, President, this is what's happening. Are you aware of this? So we are just saying that firstly, we want to clear our name. Our name cannot be, pulled through the mud in the way that it has been. We have sat, we've been silent, but it got to a point where it's now escalating to a point where we can't afford to even allow people who are scavengerish in their approach to even use our own friend and comrade who was part of former Umkhonto we Sizwe party to discredit us and then use that, despicably to remove us as members of Umkhonto we Sizwe party and expel us. For what gain? So it tells you, Uguti, we are dealing with a serious infiltration problem here in Umkhonto we Sizwe party. And we've been experiencing it from day one, where they've been trying to hijack this party. And a lot is going to be unveiled, and a lot is going to unravel. I can tell you now in the next week or two about what exactly is happening, because members are also aware of the agenda of those that are trying to infiltrate and hijack the party.
But what happens if you guys lose? And I've asked you to do the same question.
No, look, Umkhonto we Sizwe party is a party of activists, people on the ground. We if you look at how the turnout of, let's say, Orlando Stadium, when we had our first rally, we never had money. But look at how powerful that was, comparatively to what then happened when we had another SG leading our organization, and we had the first anniversary at Mabhida. I mean, comparatively, you can't compare it. The impact, having resources and not having resources, it tells you, Uguti, we have a serious problem. But it also then refers and tells you, Uguti, South Africans came together to say, we will ensure as activists that we liberate ourselves. And the only platform to do so is Umkhonto we Sizwe party. And that's why you have a response that you saw at Orlando Stadium. So we are continuously fighting these kind of things internally with Ututu and other comrades, by the way, to ensure that Umkhonto we Sizwe does not veer off the agenda of liberation and focus on politics. Remember, I was removed as the spokesperson of MK party by merely being a conveyor of a message. But if you look at the message and you go and read that statement, it's very clear. It says, it focuses on what we call Ntuversalism. Ntuversalism is an ideology that we need to focus on. So you've got Abu Marxism. Why aren't we as Africans having our own ideology? And our ideology must be based on our melanin. Abantu abamnyama must come together, and in as much as we are part of, strategically designed, models of political parties, the fact of the matter is that we are all black people, we are all Africans, South Africans specifically, and we should use our melanin to liberate ourselves. But we've been now confined to political parties. Now, politics must just be 10%. 90% must be liberation. But we can't achieve 90% of liberation using politics and politicians are driving our agenda of liberation as activists. Every single South African is actually an activist. I'll give you an example. Institutions. If you go to China and what is happening in South Africa, for instance, the Dutch come here and then they form themselves up and they try and indigenize themselves as Afrikaners. They are Dutch, but they're not Afrikaners. And now they are operating, at a frequency of their own because they control the economy. If you sit across a black person with a white person, as a white person, you sit across the table with a black person, that becomes a BE deal. So it shows you that we're operating at their frequency. You can't go to, as a black person, to China and say you're Afro-Chinese. No, it's because they're operating with their own melanin. And that's what advances that country become so powerful. You go to India, you can't go there and now become and say that you're going to be Afro-Indian. No, they operate on their own melanin, their skin, the color of their skin. You can't go to Russia and say you're going to be Afro-Russian. You can't go to Iran and say you're going to be Afro-Iran. But in South Africa, you have Afrikaners that came here and indigenized themselves and then carved a space and took control and power over us. The problem is that we have now been reduced to being part of political parties as black people. as opposed to becoming activists that should be identifying a platform that we should all say, hold on, what we're going to do, politics aside, we know that we form and we belong to certain political parties. Let's identify what is the right platform for all of us to vote for. And then after that, we come to an agreement and say our ideologies and our policies are XYZ as Black people. And then we find the middle road. But then you see, when we can do that and we can then liberate ourselves with a 2/3 majority, we can then come back and say, these are our policies. This is what we want to do. We want a first deputy president, a second deputy president, and a main deputy president, representative of all the political parties. And then we change the constitution to suit us, and the constitution becomes Africanized. The question is, why are we not doing that? And the reason is because they are separating us, the Western forces, and money is being used to separate us into political parties as Black people. And we're falling into that same trap. And we're not using the fact that we've got our own melanin to define us. We're now being defined by monies that are being used to separate us and form political parties that then continue to confuse us, as opposed to achieving the agenda of liberation. And we can never achieve the agenda of liberation as long as we are led by politicians.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you, and I have two questions. One question is regarding this political party. It's not the first time I'm hearing you say this, Uguti, and not only you, but other MK people, that this MK was not supposed to be an MK party. Floyd made it an MK party. I keep on hearing this. So why then did you get an SG? And maybe if you did get an SG and not brief him that, well, we don't want this to be a political party. And then maybe when he started doing the structures, you call him into order, which, this is not what we wanted. This is the vision. We are bringing you as an SG into this vision, so that he doesn't go the distance of trying to make it a political party and introducing all these structures and all these things that he knew. So so if it was supposed to be a movement, or maybe it was supposed to be, I don't know, why did you not brief the one SG that came in, and everyone was happy about it? He's here to form structures, he's here to structure the party. So I feel like you did allow him to go wild. Maybe you wanted to see if it was going to work out, and then when it didn't work out, then everyone was like, well, this is not what we wanted. That's question number one. I think let me allow you answer this one, and then I will come back to Nduvism, because I've got a question there as well. You can unmute your mic.
So here's the thing. So we as Africans, South Africans specifically, have been categorized into political parties. And so therefore, like I said, when I spoke about the frequency, and I'll articulate it in the universalism, you see, what you find is that we are supposed to liberate ourselves, but we can't liberate ourselves using political parties. If you look at the agenda of the ANC from day one, when the kings and queens formed the South African National Natives Congress, they came together as traditional kings and royal leaders. But what ended up happening in the future is that when they then converted themselves into the ANC, that agenda was hijacked by politicians. Okay? And then the politicians were easily influenced. Some of those, and one of those being President Zuma, who went outside the country, and all freedom fighters left this country to go and fight from outside. But the reason is because, the agenda was disbanded, the ANC was disbanded. And that's why MK party was formed. Well, MK, let's say the military wing was formed. It was formed to say that if we cannot be recognized by this government, because now it had led to a situation of politics where politicians were having to now engage and negotiate with the Afrikaners, then let's form MK military wing. The agenda here is the following: separate them, group them into political parties, and then move them from the liberation, the broader agenda of liberating themselves by consolidating themselves. The reason we had the majority vote, by the way, as the ANC at the time, that's what I was saying even yesterday, that President Zuma took over, what was a former liberation movement. And then when he took it over and it was handed over to him, as a political party. Mbeki had he was leading a liberation movement. We had 2/3 majority for us to then change the constitution, to take land back to ourselves. But what happened? He was more focused on one thing. He was focused on having a third term and using the 2/3 majority of our people, not to liberate them and give them the land back, but to have a third term. So when President Zuma took over ANC as the president, he then wanted to implement policies that said, let's have free education, let's have free healthcare. But then the politics took over. That alone should show you, Uguti, it was going against the broader Western agenda of maintaining control and then changing the frequency in which we engage as Black people to control and take over our own future as a Black people in this country and controlling this country. So he then realized, go to know, but, and that's why he keeps saying all the time, "Ithe mangibona ukuthi le ANC akuseyona le ANC lengiyaziyo." Chief, I then decided to go to, in order to liberate even the same ANC, same as what happened in 1960, when this same ANC, by the way, was disbanded by the apartheid government and was bought and owned. This ANC has been bought and sold to Western forces. What we now need to do is use the same tactics to then what? Liberate our people by forming an MK party. MK party is not fighting now, and this is what we now find ourselves. The only way we can liberate ourselves, which is what we find as a vehicle to liberate ourselves, is through party structures and parties. Why do we have to now operate in, frequencies of parties and having to segregate ourselves as parties as opposed to liberating ourselves? So what we now find is, no, the only way you can actually liberate yourself is to go to elections via, political parties, which isn't correct. We, as all of us as Black people, should be saying, hold on, the sovereignty of our country depends on the color of our skin. The minerals of our country depend on us, and they're owned to us based on the melanin of our skin. Not some people that came here and all of a sudden have taken control. But that's always been the agenda. Separate them, create political parties, rise Mzansi, good party. All these political parties and formations that are all of a sudden springing up to separate us. That's exactly the agenda, to say that let's separate them to ensure that they don't achieve the majority agenda.
Okay. I hear you and I understand everything that you are telling me, ne? But I think you have not really answered me. I don't want to move on to the second question because I've got
Yes.
a question about the Nduvism. I think my question is, I hear the background that you are telling me, and your vision has always been clear on like how you want to operate as a movement, maybe not as a political party. But my question is, because you got a lot of people that joined because you wanted to get 2/3 majority, right? And you had a lot of people join, people collapsing their political parties who had their own things, their own way, came to join. First question, why didn't you at least update them? Ukuthi, this is how we are operating, Tin. We are not operating as a political party. This is our vision. And then also, my question is, because everybody likes to blame Floyd, which he changed it to a political party, he did structures. Why was there no one who said, okay, fine, we are making you SG, but this is your role. You are not here to build structures. You're not here to politicize the movement. This is what we want you to do. Yeah, so I get your explanation of your vision. I hear your vision is clear. But my question is more of, why, as the founder, was your vision not communicated to the new people who joined? And also, when you saw that Floyd was building structures, doing his own thing, trying to politicize this movement, why was there no one who said, okay, no, man, this is not our vision. This is not what we want. This is what we want. Or maybe you wanted to see if it's going to work, and then when it didn't work, you realized, man, we shifted from our original vision.
No, I think one of the things is that, like I said, you see, politics and political parties may be the vehicle, but liberation is the agenda, right? So you need to operate within the frequency of the environment that we find ourselves. What is that? That is the following, that in order for us to gain power, clearly, based on the current constitution, which is not African, which is not us, it's based on Roman Dutch law, we need to follow the frequency of using political parties to liberate ourselves. Now, political parties, and then obviously the IEC, the voting process.
Ndlela, can I just assist 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So when the SGs come in, President Zuma does sit down with them and takes him through his vision, right?
I was getting there, yeah. I was going to get to
It
that.
happened with Floyd. It happened, especially when he could see how the previous SGs were messing up. He thought, okay, I think I made a mistake in assuming that they would know what the roles are. Then he would start to break it down. And
Yes.
where it got lost in translation is when the SG started thinking that they could do whatever they want. They wanted to put their own people and all of that. So I just let me just guide, and then Nhlamulo, you can carry on.
Yeah, so you're right. That's what I'm saying. You see, we need to separate politics from liberation. We have found ourselves having to operate, like I said, within political party structures and political party frameworks, right? Political parties, as to who defined them, well, I guess it's initiated, and the inaugural structures of such come from the ANC, where you've got an SG, a TG, and all of that, right? What we should be asking ourselves, and the question that you're asking, Zizi, is a very important one. Oguti, should we actually be having SGs? Should we be having a TG? Should we maybe not be having a fundraiser as opposed to a TG? Because you cannot liberate yourself using funds that are coming, like we say, just from the IEC. If you're saying that you're a liberation institute or organization, then you must institutionalize yourself such that people can believe in ensuring that you overthrow the status quo. If you look at what happened in Mozambique, that's why today, you look at the Mozambican flag. There's no other flag that has got a Kalashnikov or an AK-47. There's no other flag in the world. It's because it is instrumental to defining what their liberation was. The Mozambicans traded, food and their agricultural status with the Russians. The Russians then gave them arms, and they liberated themselves, right? So how are we going to liberate ourselves is the question. Are we going to liberate ourselves using the same kind of political parties, political frameworks, political structures? No. The issue of SG, like what Ututu is saying, is to say that when you come into the organization, firstly, you need to understand what the president's vision is. Here's an example. I had to become a spokesperson. I had never done spokesperson in my life, ever. I never became a communicator in my life, ever. I never handled communications, department in my life, ever. But I had to step up to the vision of what President Zuma wanted. And I sat with him and I said, President, what do you want to achieve? And I got to understand it. And I said, and for me, after our conversation with him, I realized that I must emulate who President Zuma is. If you cannot emulate who President Zuma is, then you will not be able to implement and deliver on his mandate or his vision. And I think that's been the shortcoming of most of the SGs, like what Ututu is saying. You sit with the president, he tells you this is what I want to achieve. It's either maybe your lack of intellect or lack of understanding, or just not understanding what you're there for or what he's trying to achieve. That will lead you to fail. So what I had to do, I had to literally, it was like I was Pinky, he was the brain, a Pinky in the brain kind of situation. And I always had to listen to this brain and think, okay, in this situation, what would I do? We had a person like you, now you refer to Floyd. Floyd would never even shake people's hands. Is that emulating President Zuma? No. President Zuma shakes President Zuma is a people's person. You can't go anywhere and say that you're the SG of the party. You don't shake people. You don't take pictures with people because you're saying, no, you're higher than thou. When President Zuma, your boss, who gave you that power, does exactly that. So you're really, more than anything else, if you're a leader of MK party, you need to emulate President Zuma and you become an extension of President Zuma. Once you change that, then the people on the ground are going to start rejecting you because you're not emulating what they believe in. You're not emulating a person and a leader that they've always known to be. Then that's no longer the MK that they know. And that's how they start rejecting you. And that's why most SGs have failed, because they don't emulate President Zuma and who he is in terms of his character.
Okay. Yeah, I'll thank you. I'll come back to the question. Yeah, Nduvism and you being expelled. But I just want to ask this question, Uguti. Then who's bringing in the SGs, or rather, who brought in Ken Unomvalo Ken Goku at this point? And the reason why I'm asking is because you've had all the other SGs, fine. And I do get the vision that you might have had, maybe now that you explained, by bringing in Ubongane Mngwango, because he was never a politician. So I kind of understand that you would be able to shape him to the vision, yeah, well, because he's not like a politician. But then who brought in Unomvalo? And the reason why I'm asking this is because I feel like maybe you brought him knowing his experience and where he excels the most, maybe his political experience, and then you wanted him to operate a certain way. I mean, it's only been 2 months, 3 months, and already he's not good enough. Did you give him enough chance? And like, who brought him in?
Yeah.
And had you had a choice when to choose an SG, again, I'm not going to leave you guys out of this, because you've been in the party, you've been when the SGs were appointed. I mean, who would you have thought maybe would be a good SG to follow the vision that you just explained now?
So I think first and foremost, let me just state the following. Dudu and I have never been part of identifying or influencing the president in terms of who the SG must be. Contrary to popular belief, it's a lie. And, they always try and use that, which these ones are the ones that go and whisper in the president's ear. No, we don't do that. A case in point is the following. If you look at the current SG, right? So he participates as a member of parliament, in the ad hoc committee, rises from nowhere. By the way, it's questionable. And let me put it this way. He was part of the justice cluster and that portfolio committee, hardly ever attended meetings, even there. And then, shows up in the ad hoc committee because there's a camera there. Maybe that's where the Teletubbies activity comes in and the excitement of television comes in. Now, becomes famous because, he sits on the ad hoc committee and then he can say to Julius Malema what he said to Julius Malema, insulting him in the way that he did. And then he shoots to stardom. But, what then becomes interesting is that then there's this new presidential task team that's formed. And then a member of parliament, him being the only member of parliament, that becomes part of that PTT. That PTT, which, let's be honest, we announced an 11-member PTT. There's only been about 4 being him. Now, they then end up
Nhlamulo keeps cutting your electricity. We didn't hear you.
Being the president to me becomes SG. So you can already see that,
We can't hear you. You keep on breaking, and we want that part.
Yeah.
We want that part. I think because it doesn't have electricity, so network
Can you hear me?
goes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Sorry,
Yes.
we lost you on that part where you said, and then he becomes PTT, and then you cut off after that.
Yeah, Nomvalo was part of the PTT. So announced as part of the PTT. Then the PTT goes, when I say the PTT, I'm not saying all the members of the PTT. Certain members of the PTT, about 3 or 4, then go and lobby the president to remove Umncwango and then install him. The question is, were they doing that for their own interests as PTT members so they can control and have influence on the party? And remember, this is a presidential task team that is supposed to advise the president on how to advance the party for growth and for us to obviously be a dominant force, and more so to engage with issues that people may have throughout the provinces. So what then happens is that the PTT goes and appoints or recommends one of their own for appointment as SG. So Nomvalo is a member of parliament, is a member of the PTT, and then he's deployed by the PTT, with them obviously lobbying the president for him to be the SG. And the president then says, okay, let me see where this is going. And he puts him in and appoints him as the SG. Now you have a Nomvalo who's a member of parliament, a member of the PTT, and an SG at the same time. How does that work? So I think, sorry?
He is all of that currently.
Yes, he currently still is all of that. Let's not forget the point that I made, the fact that he's not even attended. If you look at his attendance rate in his own portfolio committee as a member of parliament, it's shocking. It's a shambles. So, and then he gets there and then he becomes an SG, appointed and lobbied for. It's almost as if you do an assessment, there was a broader agenda that has been planned for the longest time to say, no, let's use the PTT, we bring you into the PTT, and then as the PTT, we've got enough power and influence to be able to lobby the president off the back of your so-called performance and celebrity status at the ad hoc committee. I mean, this is what's happening. Maybe this is why he loves TV so much. But anyway, you cannot, let's be honest, occupy all 3 roles. So you have to now advise the president about yourself as the SG, and then advise the president as the SG about yourself being a member of parliament. Because that's what's happening. He's advising the president as the PTT member in terms of what the SG and the organization must do. Then he must advise the president on what members of parliament must do. Does that make sense? How do you do that? Which one are you? Are you a PTT member to advise the president to standardize and stabilize the organization? But how do you then advise the president on stabilizing yourself as the SG, and then advise the president on stabilizing and advancing the agenda of our mandate in parliament, which is also advising the president on yourself in parliament? It doesn't make sense. I don't know how that makes sense, quite honestly. So this is what we're faced with, and we're saying that it's wrong.
I must say I hear you, ne? I hear you. There are points where I do kind of disagree with you. I mean, I don't know if he was attending or he was not attending in when he was in parliament, but I also feel like right now I'm trying to understand. Are you speaking like this now because you no longer have the influence that you once had and you are no longer inside? Or, I mean, another thing that I kind of was asking you to do that I don't understand is that when did you guys become enemies with Nomvalo? Because like everyone loved him when he was in parliament. He did ask good questions. I mean, he was one of your best performing people in the ad hoc committee when he was asking the questions. And I think that position was good for him, by the way, when it comes to contributing there in the ad hoc committee during the investigations. So again, you used to talk good about him when he was in the ad hoc committee. Whenever people praised him, you spoke well about him. When did you guys become enemies to like where, I mean, I don't understand. I feel like I get the internal dynamics and I get the factions. I just don't understand Uguti. I feel like also everyone is you. I feel like you are all not patient with each other. It could be because everyone is fighting to have that grip and that voice over President Zuma. I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm just sharing
Yeah.
from what you've said and from what I've gathered as well. It seems like everybody, the real fight here is about who has that voice that advises and that speaks to Ubab. And I feel like I was saying to earlier, I feel
No.
like you guys have lost it now, that influence.
Okay. So let me share the following. No one can take anything away from the work that was done by the members of the ad hoc committee in Parliament, including Nomvalo. Remember, by virtue of him sitting in the portfolio committee of justice and development, constitutional development, you can't take away the work that he has done. Let's be honest, right? As the lead in that ad hoc committee, he did a good job, and so did Tulani Shongwe, did a brilliant job, and so did Ulendo,
Uskosan.
Kosana,
You
yeah.
can't forget Uskosan.
Yeah. So we had a very interesting mix that represented all facets of our society. Let's be honest. Okay, they did brilliant work there to position us, especially at the time. If you think about it, where people were questioning how MK Party is performing in Parliament.
Exactly.
I think if you were to measure us against any political party, you could say that our team, including Nomvalo, by the way,
Yeah.
were able to ask questions that they were able to ask because they were not. Remember, we knew we've not been there that long, so the generals, relationship with police, relationship with judges, we were never there. So we could
Yeah.
ask questions freely and expose certain things without feeling, hey, what about this relationship that I've got with General Khan? What about this relationship that I've got with this general or that general? So we could engage freely, right? So we can't take anything away from Nomvalo, Kosana, or Shongwe in their work in Parliament. Now, that's the first thing. Second thing is, we have got our own relationship, and most people have got their own relationship with President Zuma. It's not just us. Many people have got relationship with President Zuma. So we can't now want to claim Guti. Let me talk about me. I can't want to go wake up and say, hey, Zuma is closer to me than anyone else. Come on. President Zuma is probably closer to other leaders of other political parties than he is to me. He could trust me with certain things, but it does not mean that now I have, the holy grail ownership of President Zuma's trust. No, it doesn't work that way. What we are now talking about is the issue of principle. We're talking about principle, not politics, principle. Because we want to say to the people out there that we want to advance the agenda of liberation. Now, we must be able to criticize each other. It doesn't mean because you are great and you're doing well in the ad hoc committee that now you'll be a great SG. No. That's what we're saying, especially if you're not delivering on the agenda of the president, and especially if the ground is questioning your ability to lead. Remember, at ad hoc committee, you're not leading people. You're asking questions. You are engaging on the basis of questions. Some of those questions and the information that you get you're getting from the public. So we're saying that you need to differentiate between being an ad hoc committee lead or an ad hoc committee participant to being an SG of a liberation movement. And the principle is that we must be able to critique you. So it's not that it's sour grapes. It's not sour grapes. We need to say, guys, the hope of the people here lies with MK Party and the president. Do you emulate the president? Are you going to drive and achieve the agenda of the president? If the people feel you're not doing that, then that's where the problem is. Don't take it personally. It's not a personal issue. I never took the issue of being removed from spokesperson personally. No. In actual fact, I was saying to Zile and many other people, they've known for the longest time. I think Jude will tell you probably 5 months ago, from 5 months, I'll say, I'm tired of, hey,
From last.
from last year, actually. I said, I'm tired of being a spokesperson that's going to be disrespected, undermined, not brought into some of the meetings, but yet I have to go and speak about issues and protect the party on decisions that are taken by national officials. By the way, something I'm supposed to tell you, which I'm going to break for the first time here, I've never said it, is that even with
I'm worried.
no,
No,
don't be worried.
man. I'm sure it's not that deep. Yes.
No, what happened is that, there was an element of perjury where the same officials took a decision to remove me and other two comrades who have got institutional memory and knowledge and information about what's happening in the party to be able to advise the president and the national officials in terms of the outcomes of those meetings. They actually took his signature, Mwango's signature, and they appended it to remove us, and he knew nothing of it. It was perjury. But it shows you, Uguti, there are certain comrades that come to this party whose agenda is not to advance the president's vision, but to purge certain individuals that they feel are a threat. Did I fight about it? No, I continued. Was I part of those meetings? No, I continued. I was even asked at some point to say, release a statement on a letter that started flowing all over the place on the ANC partnership, supposedly, for KZN. That became an uproar with all ground forces. I was never part of that. It was said that no, the president has agreed to this. I said, let me check with the president. The president said he never knew anything about it. So again, sabotage, because they wanted me to be out of those meetings so they can then use me to go and drive their nefarious agendas. These are kind of things that Dudu and I have had to face in the party. And then what they then do, they realize, no, these ones are a problem. Let's weaponize them against the president and then speak ill of them. Let's use Dudu's tweets. Let's go and tell the president that, no, this one doesn't want to release statements based on XYZ. How do I release a statement to say that we're going to partner with the ANC in KZN when we know that the people in KZN rejected the ANC? How do I do that? But then I'm being lobbied on the side by a very senior member. It doesn't work. So these are some of the things that we have to deal with here in this party with the leaders that are then appointed into very serious positions to lead this party.
Okay.
So hopefully today I do not, there's nothing I said there.
No,
That's
no, you didn't say. I feel like also because Umwango did say, he also had a press briefing. He did speak a little bit, Nyana, where he said, well, he's removed it's not fair, don't. So I don't think it's anything, wow. Yeah, but
No.
and that's why he left. I think another thing that made him actually leave is the fact that he felt betrayed more than anything. That's why he ended up going to the IFP, but I'm not there. I've asked you to do this. She has answered me, but I was not satisfied with the answer. So I'm going to ask you. Since you're already, no, since you're already on this part of Ubaba, again,
Yeah.
I personally feel like what is being fought for here by everyone is to have Ubaba on their corner so that they can be able to say, this is what we're going to do. And then he just signs if he signs, or yes if he says yes. And then they can say, well, Ubaba has agreed. Yeah, but so I was asking you to do earlier, do we think that Ubaba maybe forgets also? Yeah, but like you can talk to him now today and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what we are agreeing on. I'm going to do a press briefing tomorrow. And then he forgets because he is elderly. And then you,
Yeah.
and then you go and do a press briefing and then they come to him. He says, okay, well, no, I don't remember, because maybe he really does not remember, but you had spoken to him.
No, let me share the following with you, right? And I think we said it yesterday, is that underestimate President Zuma's intellect and state of mind at your own peril. Abantu abaningi bacabanga ukuthi umdala therefore uyingane. Let me tell you, you'll be making, and I said, one of the journalists asked us, Zida, the journalist said, do you think that the people are taking advantage of the president because they think that he's old? Our response was very clear. The response was, that if you think that you can underestimate and undermine the president's intellect and intuition and his ability to see through things, right? Then that is going to be detrimental to your role in the future of this organization. Let me tell you, I was with President in Ghana, okay? And when we were in Ghana, he told me and he reminded me and he took me step by step about how when we were in Mozambique in 1988, he told me the years, he told me exactly what happened. The same President Zuma that you're speaking about, at his age, he told me a story that I knew from what I'd heard from my uncle and my father many years back. But he related to me when we were in Ghana. And he said, you sat on my lap and you told me how to make a petrol bomb and throw it at the Boers. And I was like, this story I only heard from my uncle and my father. And he says, no, I remember that day, 40 years ago, give or take, right? 37 years ago, when you sat on my lap and you told me how to make a petrol bomb and how you're going to throw it at the Boers during apartheid. He says, so it's interesting that you and I now are reconnecting in this way. So that tells you, or what that should tell you, is that you're not dealing with a person who's a fool here, or who's not of their right mind, and who can say, hey, today I'm saying this and then the following day. No, President Zuma allows you to fall on your own sword, like many others that have fallen on their own sword. He allows you, create the crime, then we deal with you later. That's what's going to happen.
You think you guys have fallen on your own sword? I get it. And honestly, I must say, I'm one of the people who always says, maybe President Zuma is old, maybe he doesn't, maybe he's not aware of everything that is happening around him.
Big mistake. You'll be making a big mistake if you think that. President Zuma is of his sound mind. So sound. It's scary. I mean, his mind operates at the level of a 30, 20, 28. I mean, Dudu knows. The things that when we sit with him and we speak about, that he reminds us about, and the things that he says, it scares us. It's like, wow. And he says, yeah.
Okay. So before I go back to my original question that I wanted to ask you, so do you think you guys have fallen like in your own swords right now?
No, we're still carrying our swords.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think you guys can win this?
There's nothing to win.
No, I mean, like, do you think you can conquer this thing that is happening now?
There's no conquering and nothing to win. There's nothing to conquer and nothing to win.
Okay.
We don't box shadows. And we don't box amongst ourselves or against ourselves. So there's no one in the ring. Let me put it that way.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's just quickly go back to the Nduvism. I just wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. I listened to your press briefing, and I heard you when you were breaking down the whole announcement. I listened and I noticed that Dr. Litchfield was there, which I've heard some people say definitely this Nduvism came, it's definitely her. Yeah, well, it came from her, but I don't know about that. I'm just saying. But I listened to your press briefing, and in that press briefing, I was actually watching that press briefing through a TikTok video that was it Nandina? I think it was Nandi who was live that day, where she showed like everyone who was there. President Zuma was there that day. Ndlela was there that day. Dr. Shope was there that day. Onabanye go Mrs. Mukwena, the suspended chief whip now, Dr. Litchfield, they were there, right? The person who was not there was Unomvalo, was Tony Yengen. Yeah. My first question is, so Goku, the reason why you are in trouble in the first place is because Nomvalo was not there. Why was the SG not there to begin with? Because I mean, he's the SG.
You'll be shocked to know that, firstly, we were co-opted into the institute, and the president, commissioned the institute 18, 20 months ago. Okay, to do an organizational review, like what we said in the statement. So I'm showing something that's in the statement anyway, right? And then the president then said he obviously wanted to identify the right people to preside over the implementation and the transitional agenda of liberation as opposed to politics, right? Within the institute. And the people that you saw there that were announced were people that were identified by the president. So when we're now consolidated as a team, the same person that you're referring to, Nhlamulo, was there, sitting next to the president, on the president chair, which is quite honestly not Ubuntu, but anyway, it was scary when we were all sitting on the periphery. Hayi nangu umuntu uhlala kule situlo esikhulu esifana nesakadudu yabona isitulo esifana nakadudu la ahlele khona manje hey sathi phethe lo muntu anyway sitting next to the president and the president made it clear to say that this is the organization and this is the team rather that's going to lead the organization in terms of the transformative agenda from politics to liberation. He was there. So he cannot say that he didn't know. In actual fact.
Sorry to cut in, Nhlamulo. Now you actually remind me, if he was there, then why did he feel some type of way that what happened? Because he obviously knew the plan. He knew that there was going to be an announcement. I think you guys had discussed even the launch date in that same meeting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything
Have you
was
spoken
discussed.
to that, yeah?
So he was there behind closed doors before you did that press briefing.
Yeah,
Maybe a week or two before, yeah.
2 weeks before. We're all together in Kandla. He was there sitting next to the president in the big chair, like Dudu's one. Yeah, but he was there. And he heard everything when everything was unpacked. In actual fact, the funny thing about it is that to show you his state of mind, he went outside. And this is what's concerning about careerists, opportunists, and power mongering. He then went outside and spoke to someone and said, "Hi, lento le ngathi izo hijack your organization." As in, it's going to take his power away. Because the president
Which it was going to take his power away, though. Be honest about that. It was going to take his power away.
But let me ask you a question. Okay. Why would you have a problem in a transitional phase when the institute is saying we're taking governance, administration, and finance to the presidency, and then you must focus on structures? You are going to lead the organization in terms of structures, because structures throughout the whole country, provinces, regions, sub-regions, VDs, wards, and VDs and wards. I'm trying to understand how
you wanted to because you were also in the institute. You wanted to control the money, and he must just focus on the structures.
No, the money and the administration must be in the presidency. The institute reports to the presidency, not in the institute.
Didn't you say that the institute has power above all the other structures? I think that's what you said.
No, we're saying that our responsibility is to advise the president. Just like, for instance, the PTT. Remember, Section 728 of the Constitution allows the president to establish any structures that he believes must advise him. And the institute is also, just like the PTT, an advisory institution. No different, right? So we are not going to take powers of finance. No, they're going to be sitting in the presidency. We're not going to take powers of governance. They're going to sit in the presidency. We're not going to take administration. They're going to sit in the presidency. What we're saying is we're going through a transition where we must move from politics, because we've realized, going back to the issue of the SG role, the TG role, if we're going to truly liberate ourselves, people must not have the powers of money, governance and administration. Put that aside. We're in a liberation agenda. Formulate and make sure that the structures of the party and the engine of the party is working. And ensure that you've got a person who sits from a financial position to become a person that does what? Fundraising, to fund the programs. The president and the presidency. So in other words, the president, the deputy president, and the second deputy president must be the ones that say, okay, this is our strategy when it comes to the structures. This is how we need to fund it. And then our responsibility as the institute, in this case, based on how we were co-opted and the mandate we were given, is to say, how do you bring the liberation agenda into the mandate of implementing the programs? That's it.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that, because when I heard it, I thought it said that the institute was going to have power over all the other structures. So technically, if Nomvalo makes a decision and the institute says, nope, we don't agree, the institute has the final say. So Nomvalo doesn't have like that overall or final say as the SG. That's how I heard it.
Let's put it this way. When he makes decisions right now, the PTT, let's use an oxymoron. Who lobbied for him to become SG?
The PTT, right? You said.
You've answered yourself. Thank you.
So okay, but meaning that the PTT had more powers than the SG kakate. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay, fine. I get it. But now, also, I'm confused about this part. I've been confused about this part. Thank you for explaining to me, because now I understand. But when you were removed, I will forever be confused. I think the first question I had was, okay, fine, if you wanted to make an announcement and all that, why then was Nomvalo not there? Like, I don't understand if he was sitting in the meetings, blah, blah, blah. Why was he not in the press briefing? Because as you said he was in the meetings 2 weeks ago, so he kind of knew, he knew it was not a surprise, even though they all say they were shocked at what you read. Again, sorry, okay, fine, you can answer me. I'll finish my question. That's fine.
Don't forget to just explain that Nomvalo is a liar. I mean, a lawyer. So just don't forget that part.
Okay.
Let me start by saying the following. Muzin Chingela is a former deceased, may his soul rest in peace, member of parliament. Nomvalo is a member of parliament. Nomvalo was not present at Muzi's memorial. Nomvalo was not present at Muzi's funeral.
Oh, he wasn't there.
Was not present at Muzi's burial. So if you're going to ask me about Nomvalo's presence, I think it will be very difficult in light of just this example to tell you why he was not there when he knows. In the same way he knew about the institute and the people that were co-opted and what was announced and what was said in his presence, the same of him knowing of the passing of Comrade Muzi, but he still never attended.
Sorry, Nhlamulo, this is like when we speak about Muzi, it becomes very personal for me. But was also say that Nomvalo was the one person that he was with President, when Tony Yangeni phoned to talk all the nonsense about us, but knew nothing about Muzi.
This is true, yes.
Yeah, he's the one that connected President and Yangeni.
Yes, spewing lies. So
Okay. On this specific part of him not going to the funeral, I honestly, I thought he went. I mean, I would have, I thought he went, even if you all didn't get along, blah, 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 but I thought he went. He should have gone, but I don't know. Maybe
Muzi was happy he was not there and said that many people that were there should not have been there, but we will keep quiet.
Yeah, just keep it to yourself. There's some things you must keep to yourself. Hello.
Okay. I mean, I get it. Okay, fine. Were you done answering me? Because I was actually not done asking my question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so fine. Okay, then the presser happens, right? Fine. Now, my question, okay, firstly, what is the second deputy president part of the PTT? Because I know Dr. Hlophe is, right? And then the second deputy president, is he also part of it? since he was also not at the press briefing, because he was also not there with Tony Yengen.
Yeah, I don't think he knew about it, but Nhlamulo can answer that better because he was part of the institute meetings. I was.
Yeah. I think Ukokole network again. Your mic is muted. Maybe it's network.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry, your question, I didn't hear it clearly.
I was saying, Uguti, just correct me if I'm wrong. So Dr. Hlope is part of the PTTT, but the second deputy president, Tony Yengen, is also part of it or not?
No, Dr. Hlop is not part of the PTT.
Oh, I thought he was, since he was there in the press. And then the second deputy president.
You're talking about the institute, you mean?
The institute, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Dr. Hlope was appointed by President to be the lead of the institute. I mean, it's also there in the statement, effectively, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm making a mistake in this, Dibanis. So Dr. Hlope was appointed to be the head of the institute that was supposed to be working with the presidency. I get it. But second deputy president, Tony Yengen, is he part of the PTT, but he was never part of the institute. He was not supposed to be part of the institute.
No, he's not part of the PTT.
Also, he's not part of the PTT also.
No.
Oh, because there's also this idea, Uguti, like him and Nhlamulo, the spokesperson, they're kind of like because they seem to be really gelling well together and working well together. So I thought the second deputy president was part of the PTT also.
Let's start from membership. Is he a member? Anyway, next question.
Yeah, no. Well, when you guys were there, you were calling him second deputy president, and you didn't care that he didn't have a membership. And by the way, that's very bad. That's very, very, very bad.
Now, when you're in the structures, Pele, we respect you as a comrade, so we can't be questioning your status.
So no one has ever thought of just taking J or whatever.
Someone clearly did, because we now all know.
Now we know. We didn't know.
And Brian Mulefe, by the way, also doesn't have a membership, and you guys didn't know.
Remember, we always said that we respect. We said.
Your TG.
No, we even said yesterday that we respect the president's decisions. They are sacrosanct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the president appoints someone, we say leadership. But hey, if leadership doesn't have membership, it's a different story.
So, okay, let's get back quickly. I've got just 2 more questions. Then, so, okay, now that this is what I don't understand. And I've heard everything that you have explained to me. It still does not make sense, Uguti.
Mm-hmm.
The second press briefing is called. Fine. Okay, now the second press briefing, now Tony Yengen is there. Nhlamulo is there. Dr. Hlope is not there. One person that I've noticed is always on all sides. Intellect was there. He was there when you were there. He was there on the second one. So and the second press briefing that they held, Intellect didn't really speak nicely about you. I don't know if you listened to that presser. So my question is, also President Zuma was there, by the way. And are you telling me, Uguti, they all put you under the bus because you are saying that they knew? Yeah, but including the president, he knew. So they all put you under the bus.
You mean when it came to my...
No, when it came to the second press briefing, when they said everything was null and void. That's the presser that I'm talking about. The one that they came and said everything was null and void. President Zuma was there. Intellect was there, who was there in the first press briefing. Tony Yengen was there, who was not there in your press briefing. They said everything was null and void. So I'm asking, so did they all put you under the bus? Because you were saying they were part of the meeting 2 weeks ago that you discussed the change.
And again, I think going back to your...
Please don't spin this answer honestly, because it does not make sense.
To make the president. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things I said that we responded to yesterday is that underestimate the president at your own peril. And we spoke about falling on your own sword. What I can tell you is that we were in a meeting, and in that meeting there were outcomes because, certain individuals in the form of officials felt threatened that the institute in effect would have so much power, right? And then reduce them to nothing. But I think their reaction is a confirmation of exactly what the institute was saying. That let's focus on growing the organization for liberation as opposed to power-mongering positions and careerism. What was demonstrated in their reaction is that they were reactive and they were playing politics. Why is that important of a preamble? The reason that preamble is important is because after that meeting, President had a moment where he went to take a leak, and I happened to be taking a leak, and we had a moment there. And I said to President, look, what transpired in that meeting is such that I can tell for the longest time, obviously, they've been gunning for me, wanting me gone. Dudu can tell you that. And I said, I know the kind of people we're dealing with there. If they put you under pressure and they come to the decision to say they want to remove me as a spokesperson, don't resist. Allow it to happen. It's okay. Let them not weaponize me against you. If they are pushing, which I know is their agenda, let it be. That was a conversation I had with the president. Because you see, like we said, we're not here for positions, but at the same time, we need to be able to identify who's who and what are we dealing with. And I need to allow the president the freedom and the clarity of thought without feeling pressurized or go to, hey, now I must find myself off the back of this to protect Nhlamulo. No, President. If I must be a casualty for the broader agenda of what we're trying to achieve, because of maybe the kind of infiltration we have, because some of those leaders are infiltrators, some of those leaders are Trojan horses, then President, so let it be. I have no problem. And we agreed. So in as much as they may think, Uguti, no, hey, the influence president, good luck. I had already resigned at that moment with the president, and I'd already accepted that I'm going to be gone. But I still stand, like I said yesterday when we were reading the statement. We still stand with the institute and the agenda and the mandate of the institute, because it aims to achieve and circumvent these kind of activities and this kind of behavior of infiltration and hijacking.
Okay, I'm going to accept a few people because I see they are angry, like they've been wanting to join. I don't know how much time you have. Maybe let's say in the next 15 minutes we'll allow them. Hey?
How many people do we have connecting? It seems like 375,000. I see.
That is likes. That is like we have 2,000 people watching. 2,000.
Oh, okay. No
Quick
problem.
last question though, before I accept them, is would you change, or are you happy with how you are you happy with how you held the position of spokesperson? Is there anything you would change about how you ran, or how you not ran, man, how you occupied the position, or how you functioned in the position? I don't know how to put it.
I think from the feedback that I've heard analysts and many South Africans say is that one of the comments was that I was able to, one, defend the indefensible. Two, I was able to articulate the party's posture, position, political policies well. Three, I was thrown into the deep end. Like I said, I've never done this before in my life. I mean, I came from business and I was doing my own thing until Dudu changed my life. But anyway, because she's the one that said, Nhlamulo, come, let's go and just be a program director. And then I ended up being spokesperson. But anyway, but for me, remember, at the time that I had to make a decision, let me just share the following. I made that decision. I had to take into consideration between my family, because obviously I've got businesses and I've got transactions that I'm busy with. And I knew that making that decision would be detrimental to even them. I mean, I found myself in situations where my kids could not go to school because I couldn't pay school fees. And I must be honest, I'm not the only one, but I said, for the bigger agenda of, if it means that my children, I can do deals and get the money and do tenders and get the money, but I think a role such as mine, which I played, is selfless. It's one that you must know you're giving yourself to communicating the liberation agenda, liberation communications, mandate. I realized that I would rather do that for my children going into the future, as opposed to being third-class citizens and other black children and the black people. I had to think to myself, yes, I can benefit from my deals, but do I do that, or do I play a role in changing the future for our children? I had to make that decision. And I think that's why I was so committed in my role. I can tell you now, I was so committed. I did everything I could. I'd like to believe I did, I guess, a fairly good job. You can tell me how well I did. I can't
Okay.
judge myself.
No. I was just
But
asking from you, so you've
but
given
yeah,
me an answer.
and me
Okay.
and yeah, that was my role, to say I must differentiate MK Party, because remember, another thing is that, like I said, speaking on behalf of President Zuma is the most, I think being the President Zuma spokesperson must be the most difficult thing to ever do. I think so, because I've had to endure the most difficult and toughest environment with the media, a hostile, very, very hostile media. But I went out there and I said, no, I'm going to take them on. And I had to bring my A game. I think I brought my A game. I think we did very well. We positioned ourselves. Today, we cannot be questioned in terms of the brand. And I think we're able to communicate, and I believe I was able to communicate with the elderly, the middle-aged, and the youth. So,
Do you think you were a better spokesperson than the one who's there now?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I thought I fell asleep when I was dreaming.
Do you think you are better than the one who's there now? And why do you think, what makes him not better? Guys, I'm going to give you now, this is my last one.
no, I think it's not for me to make that call. I think it's for the public that have seen what I've been able to do versus, what they believe he can do. They can be the judge of capability and competence.
Okay. All right. Cool. Guys, please, now the time is 22:45. It's 11:15. I don't want this. Please, when you're asking your questions, keep them short. I think I've managed to cover most of the things that you might have wanted to ask. So please do not ask long questions, so that we can also give others a chance. So I'm going to ask with Gamarian. Gamarian, I do want to address you a little bit. You found us having a live here, and you are throwing tantrums in the comment section. You don't even know how this live started. So I don't understand if what they were supposed to kick out to and Nhlamulo. You don't know how they got into this live, and you are just throwing tantrums. So I don't understand where that is coming from, and what is it that you seem to be entitled about. I genuinely don't know, but I do want to tell you that we don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything. So you can come in and ask the questions that you want to ask, but we don't owe you.
I would simply, for the benefit of progress, ignore that. It's not tantrums, it's my opinions. And my question is simple to Nhlamulo and Dudu. Why are you raising all these things that you are raising against certain individuals only as at when you've been fired? In an institution, the only thing that Nhlamulo has been saying, Zizipho, he has been directly ignoring to answer the questions as you put them to him, knowing ukuthi he knows into ozibuzayo, he's got no answers to them, but he's going in circles. And it's unfortunate. The only thing that Nhlamulo has said today, engivumelana layo, it's the leadership of Zuma. Zuma is a strategist. And if Nhlamulo and Dudu and the rest that came could have admitted ukuvuma ukubanjwa isandla nguZuma and be led, but certain people got to be bigger and thought they know politics better than Zuma. And to say the agenda MK was never to form a political party, you are belittling Uzuma as an individual. And because Zuma would not want to form a pressure group, Zuma wants to lead and represent abantu, not in a form of a political a pressure group. And these two, Dudu and Nhlamulo, you missed an opportunity in MK and nizigwazwe ngowenu because you thought you were bigger. Look at an individual like Floyd. Zuma knows politics, knows who is who and who is capable. He identifies someone like Floyd to say, if they're having issues with EFF, but this young man can make things happen this side. But what happens? The moment Floyd comes in, Nhlamulo and Dudu are on him, and instead of pushing the agenda, your party, they started these fights inside. There is nothing MK is being infiltrated. You can't beat Uzuma a strategy. The moment you talk about infiltrators, Zuma would know them. So, in my opinion, MK, it's only being let down by people that just want to get close to Zuma and mislead for their benefit. And it's unfortunate. And ngeyami opinion, it's good that Nhlamulo and Zuma and Dudu bake babethwe ngumoya, or if they still want to believe in MK, they must learn to admit to be led. Lilayi future, but vumani ukuthi some people can do certain things better than you guys. Ngizoyehla. And the last question is, why are you raising all these, whether it's at parliament, issues that are being raised there, kuma ad hoc committees, asikho lapho, come back to ground and internal politics. Why are you raising all these things? So kuthiwe you are fired. I'm done, and I can allow other people to come in. Ungangehlisa.
All right. Do you guys want to say something or no? You good?
Zile, must I respond quickly?
You can. I'll come in after.
You know, we have always been led, and we've always allowed all the leaders that came on board to lead us. The reality is, let's start from a person like Jabulani Kumalo. Okay, let's start from the first SG and those individuals. You know, we've been very disciplined, because there's a lot of things that we know about this party that we can't divulge. A lot. And it's for precisely that reason that we love this party and we've kept quiet. But what is wrong with raising issues and concerns within the movement of Umkhonto weSizwe Party, but those concerns fall on deaf ears? And then we still, as disciplined members and leaders in our own right, wherever we are, then not respond to the media. A case in point after I was removed. Did you hear me speaking? No. Dudu, after she stepped down from parliament, did she go to the media with all the things that she knows? No. So I think you're being very unfair and you're driving and surfing on a wave of a narrative that is, pushed by politicians for their own nefarious agenda, not knowing, and hopefully you're not part of that same agenda or you're not a lackey of any of those politicians. But we have always been disciplined. People like to say, Ututu is now on social media saying whatever. No, hold on. When President Zuma was the president of the country, did you ever see a tweet from Tutu? Did you ever see anything from Tutu? Nothing. So we're just saying that you must not create an impression as if this is uncharacteristic. No. We are saying that there are many things that you don't know that we even know today that we cannot share. But the state of the Constitution says we're allowed to criticize. Time when we could have criticized, we held back. We didn't criticize. We kept quiet. But for you to expel us on the basis of our friend, and we must be quiet, and then our names are being dragged through the mud, which led you to think the way that you're thinking, is rather unfortunate. You can't use things that you don't know from people that you don't know and papers that have been saying things about us to now come and conclude and box us as if we are people that are evil. No, so we're not. We're saying that there are issues here in this party. This party is not a stokvel. It's not a family stokvel. This party is led by President Zuma, but it's actually owned by the people. Because a leader without followers is taking a walk. All the millions of votes that are out there, we have to play our own role of protecting that vote and that electorate from scavengers that today seek to hijack this party. So we're not going to allow that. And what's wrong with us? If you were in our position, trust me, you'd do the same thing. You'd say, but Baba, this is what we're seeing here. These people are trying to do X, Y, Z. What's wrong with that? And why must you now be castigated for saying things that are right and advising all president from the right thing on the wrong things that are happening? So you can't, quite honestly, speak ill about things that you're ill-informed about.
Let me jump in before you answer it too long. Also, I think we've respected and we have allowed ourselves to be led by everyone that does come in. They provoke us. We must just keep quiet. It's impossible. Not at all. Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
it's always
you.
about when they come in. Always when they come in. Always when they come in, it's about Dudu and Nhlamulo. Dudu and Nhlamulo kanjani? We don't control finances. We don't control governance. We don't sit in national officials. We don't make decisions. What do you want from us, kahle kahle? Just because we were there from day one, now you want to remove us and chop us because we happen to have our own relation with the president. What's your problem, kahle kahle? It's baffling. It's baffling.
All right, let's take him down to avoid wasting time to give others a chance. Come, I'm taking you down there. Maza, you can ask your question. Please
Thank
keep
you.
it short, Nick, because of time. All right. Maza, please unmute your mic and ask your question because of time. Okay, please come in, Akola. I'm going to take you down, Maza.
All right, no, thank you very much, Z. Ndlamulo, when he is talking here, I have a lot of things in my mind. First of all, I feel that in the whole scenario, President Jacob Zuma is being portrayed as a saint, this perfect lamb that ought to remove human sins. But I don't think that's the entire truth. So, which also takes back the public, particularly people who are listening to this live, to say that seems like the squabble here is about the proximity, to say that we don't want to say anything that might compromise us from him, because it cannot be that in the entire leadership there's one person who does not have that one little mistake. But I'm getting there, because Nhlamulo says the president knew about the institute. There was a meeting somewhere, Nomvalo knew about it. And when you went for the briefing, the Nduvesalism briefing, the president knew. And yet when Nomvalo renounced that position of Nduvesalism and the institute, the president was there as well. Now, the question there is, how is the president an innocent man in this scenario? Because he's been there throughout and yet he failed to protect you, Nhlamulo. That is in your case, because from my own understanding, the role of a spokesperson, particularly if you don't sit in those national structures and so on, yours is to convey a message that has been there, and there's no way you're gonna stand up and go say something that has never been said. I think that has been your position. So the first question would be, why did the president keep quiet along? Both he was there from the beginning going up, but did not say anything. I again say, without, I know and I know that Dr. Litchfield cannot be subtracted from the equation. Everybody who listens and reads on Litchfield will know that Ntuvism, let me put it that way, is definitely involved in this. And yet when Nomvalo was speaking there, he renounced his position. I mean, he renounced the organization's position on Tuvism. That is point number one. So I don't understand again, why didn't this Ntuvism thing get to touch them? Because there's no way in Nhlamulo that you would have taught of Ntuvism, because you are a business person and we know the aspects of Litchfield, but the hand of Litchfield was there. Why was she spared? That is the second question. Now, the last one is, don't you think, because now you're saying that Nomvalo knew about this everything, and then he made a side comment where he was saying this thing seems like his own Pukamandla is taking away power. Nibangani no Nomvalo, can you please tell us, because it seems like this thing is from very, very far. Kanti kubangwani, like, just be honest with us and tell us what kubangwani, because also I feel that I don't know see if this one will be there, but if they want to, I so wish they tell us from the national command, who do they feel that the person is indeed here to serve the organization. And I also feel like there's an infiltration from the ANC that seeks to destroy the MKP, and that infiltration somehow, somewhere, Tony Yengen is involved in it. There's no way you can take an 80-something year old who still had ambitions even from that particular conference, who left the ANC because he did not win a conference. I really think that man still wants to ascertain his position within the ANC. And again, I feel that there's a lot of leadership problem. The bureaucracy is not there, because to me it does not make sense that a whole spokesperson, a journalist, can call a deputy president and tell him, Uguti, this is how you should deal with these people. So those are the three questions I have. I don't know if there will be Nizo's pendula. Thank you very much.
Questions zakho zinde, and because you are asking long questions, it's easy for Umdu to forget the first one and only remember the last one, because zinde and it means.
The first question is,
In case they do remember.
No, let's give him an opportunity, because I think he was
Summarizing.
referring to his mind thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much, Nhlamulo. The first question here, let alone all those side statements, but they are still attached. The first question is, President Zuma knew from the beginning that there would be an institute, and there's this Ntuvism that is to be laid there. You are the spokesperson. you would never say something that has never been discussed. Why didn't he defend? And why
Okay,
out of
let's
all this
start there.
equation is
Just hold on. Let me
yeah
just respond
is
to that
he
one quickly. Let me just respond to that one quickly. Firstly, it would be, if I tell you this, it would be a shock. I was not meant to read that statement. So the question is, would the turnout have been the same with me being removed? Because that statement was supposed to be read by someone else. And that statement is a culmination of a report. That's your first answer. Next question.
the second question is, why do you think the president is a saint in this whole thing? Because he knew from start to scratch until your suspension to your expulsion. And also, why didn't Polish Field suffer the same consequences?
I think the second part, when you speak to other members of the institute, remember we said to you that we were co-opted. We didn't appoint ourselves. So we were not rogue into the institute. And hence the announcement that was made even in front of the SG in Kandla, him sitting next to the president. Secondly, there's no ways I would ever deliver a press briefing or make a statement without the president and him having had sides or input. The one thing you must understand is that we're in an environment that is very volatile and there's a lot of infiltration. So the president needs to tread very carefully about how he deals with certain situations, okay? That could even mean that we as soldiers, the same Dudu that you see here, has taken many bullets protecting her father, protecting this organization, and kept quiet. I now find myself in the same situation where I've had to keep quiet and take the bullets. But it does get to a point where if people are going to go for the jugular, then I'm sorry, we have to respond. In the same way when they wanted to expel President Zuma for him saying that, no, he'll stay as a member of of ANC and vote for MK party. Well, hold on. If you go to Nhlamulo, the SSCP contested the ANC. If you look at some of the members of the SSCP and COSATU, they are members of COSATU and also members of the ANC. Why is that a problem? So I'm just saying to you that there are contradictions here that we must take into consideration and not take lightly and at face value. So we're in a very volatile environment that we must also, truly understand the dynamics that come with this environment. Yeah.
Can I
Next
add
question.
that? Can I just add? Sorry.
Ndlela, do you want to say something?
Yes, I do. I think I must add that the statement was read to President 3 times. And then the leaders we speak of, they like to lock him in a room, locked him in for about 2 hours and managed to get the outcome that they did. Just wanted to add that.
But the question
Yes,
that
and also, if you listen to what Nomvala reads out, he says, if you look at most of the other SGs or anyone or TGs that have left the organization, if you pay attention, the statements say they've been relieved of their duties. With me, they say Comrade Nhlamulo Ndlela has stepped down. I don't remember having that conversation. Next question.
But Nhlamulo, you don't answer this one, and we really need an answer in this one. President knew throughout, and he formed part. The statement was read to him 3 times, and yet the president did not protect you, but he was there when you were presenting the statement by the national command team. He was there when you were removed because of the very same statement that you're saying today you read and it was not from you. Then the question is, why do you still think the president is a saint throughout.
No.
I
I
think
think I answered that question. Yeah, the statement.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Let's do this. Aqala, I'll bring you back. Just, I'm gonna take you down. Come down for Faga fast, but I'll
just
bring
quickly,
you back. Just hold it a little
I
bit.
answered that. Remember, just quickly, I answered that by saying that after that meeting, I said to President that if they put you under pressure, or these people want to try and put you under pressure in my name to remove me, I'm fine with it. It's a conversation I had with the president already, because I'm not here for opposition. I'm not a careerist.
Maybe that's what he also told Nhlamulo, hence the stepping down in the statement. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yes. And hence that's why they say I'm stepping down, because I said to President, I don't have a problem stepping down, because my plan in any case was to resign as a spokesperson of MK party. Yes. So you can't blame the
I
president.
really want to answer this question, Zizipho, before you take him off. That the statement was read 3 times to the president. The day before, on the day. You're correct. On the day, and then
No, the president had the president. Yeah, the president had a version of the statement 2 days before the press briefing. And another point is the following. Yeah, and another point is the following: is that I don't run the president's diary. The president tells us what day he can make and what time he can make for him to be participant to a press briefing.
I'm trying to assist you, Nhlamulo. Let me finish. Right?
Go
So,
ahead.
statement was read to the president, right? The presser happened. So yes, we all agree president was aware. What I'm saying to you is, and what I said also earlier in this live, is that the leaders then sat President Zuma for 2 hours in a room to take the decision that they did. I think that's answer enough.
Yes, but I'm just saying that the point I want to make
So we can
is
full
that
stop there. We can full stop.
Emma, I'm saying President received the press statement 2 days before. That's all I'm saying.
All right, cool.
And you're right also with everything that's unfolded. Yes, yeah.
Okay, Aqala, I'm gonna take you down. You can request again. I'll come down for Faga fast, ne? Thank you. Maseko, please come in. Please keep it short, Maseko, ne?
As short as I can. Good evening to those whom I did talk to before, and then to the brother Nhlamulo. Hope you good. Net to our fighter. We've been together, right? I want to, because I was listening to Nhlamulo saying the statement is a culmination from a report. So for a report to exist, one has to investigate. So I'm trying to check if we were correct to think with my brother Kola and others to say there is a hand of researchers like our Dr. Litchfield. Is that correct to think so?
Yes, the president commissioned comrades with competency and capabilities to do so 18 months ago. And then that led to a report, and that report became a culmination of a press statement that was read out by me. Yes.
Okay. Because I was trying to establish a point whereby you get into trouble for a summary of a report, but the people who actually came with that report, they're not getting into trouble. But then it's fine. I think I pointed out, others already asked on that part. And then, do you feel like perhaps the battle that you got with the brother Nomvalo, right, was because he was appearing to be gaining more power for himself? Because you mentioned him being in 3 different institutions, to say he is in parliament, he is an SG, he is again in the presidency. So to say there might be a conflict of interest, perhaps the battle between you guys felt like, no man, there might be a conflict of interest here, because when he's supposed to report to a particular board, you get that he's part of that board again where he's reporting to, and then you guys started pushing back. Is that correct to think so?
So, first, let me just deal with the issue of the report. The point that you raise is that I'm the one that was removed. I think I answered that by saying that someone else was supposed to read that statement. And there were at least 7 of us, but I was the only one that was removed. That should show you the victimization and the vendetta against me, first and foremost. Secondly, I quite honestly don't care about positions. And I know Dudu doesn't care about positions. Whether you can be, PTT, second and first deputy president, and occupy all those roles as one person, we don't care about that. What we care about is liberating our people and the advancement of MK Party. Because let me tell you what our biggest fear is. Our biggest fear, and for me, I'm one person, maybe it's a bit less of danger, but more so for Dudu, is that if this program on this project does not happen, people, based on how, and this is why we have to protect ourselves, have been labeling us in the public. The people, if this program fails, are going to come for us to say, you guys were part of the problem that made sure that this project failed. So therefore, our families and ourselves are at risk. And this is part of the reason why we must intervene. Because our children and we ourselves, our security is at risk. Firstly, they say that we killed our friend, or part of killing our friend by virtue of moving him. Now, if this project fails, who do you think the masses are going to go for when they actually felt that the MK Party was their only hope? They're going to go for the families that were leading this movement. So I'm sorry if people think, Oguti, well, we're trying to, all of a sudden talk out. No, we have to speak out. So people must know the truth. Because they're going to come for us. They're going to come for Dudu. They won't even come for Duduzile, let me put it that way. They'll come for Dudu herself. They'll come for Nhlamulo. Because that's how most of the people, even you guys, some of you guys, go and say, Nhlamulo, Dudu are the problem, like other speaker here. They are the ones who are a problem. So if the messages decide to revolt and say that this thing all of a sudden isn't working, we're going to be the ones that are going to be in the front line, not anyone else.
Not true. You are right,
Yes.
my brother, on that point. The reason I was asking the concept of spheres of power, because I was trying to trace the possible conflict that might have, occurred, to say, perhaps you guys felt like this guy is hijacking the movement or the political organization by having, different positions. Perhaps, in a sense, in a long run, he might capture it, so to say, right? That's why I was asking about those parts, to say he's finding himself in different positions whereby whenever he has to report to a particular, account, let me put it in the sense of account to a particular institute, you get that he is part of that institute. That creates a conflict of interest, by the way. So I wanted to check that one, but then it's okay. Let me just, try to pose the last, but not the least. Do you think the president disagrees with the decision? Because my understanding, when someone says President Jacob Zuma, I remember speaking to some of the guys saying he is an institution. He's not necessarily, an individual, perhaps in a way one can perceive him. When you're saying President Jacob Zuma, part of him, you are having, Dudu as well. So do you think him being in a position whereby you guys are being expelled and then he disagrees with this, and there is a possibility of him recovering and managing to bring you guys back again into the arena as well? Do you think he disagrees and he's going to, recorrect the situation?
Do you want to respond first? Or I respond?
You can go.
I think, firstly, MK Party is not about individuals or roles, and like you say now, we should not find ourselves having to say we're scared of someone here. We're not scared of anyone, and I don't think any member of controversy should be scared of anybody. And neither should they be frightened to engage the president and raise their issues. Otherwise, this is not, a liberation movement. Secondly, so whether he occupies whatever roles or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I think there's an element here where I think that even Nomvala himself doesn't realize that he's a pawn as a pipsqueak of a big agenda, and he could be potentially being used, and he may not even realize that he's being used, to kill this party. And I think that's where he's at. I think he's being used. He doesn't realize it, but he is being used. I can tell you now. And then the issue that you asked, Zile, what was that? The last point?
Repeat.
Maseko, what was the last point?
Okay.
No, not repeat the same.
Yeah, just summarize it, Maseko. Ne?
Okay. So no, I just want to see. Yeah, I concur and understand the part that Nomvalo might be part of the people being used. But my last part was to say, do you think perhaps, the president allowed you guys to be expelled for organization stability purposes? So to say, he wouldn't defy the guys when they were proposing that, but then he doesn't necessarily agree with what was being done. Perhaps in a long run, he will be able to reinstate you guys. That is my thinking. I wanted to think with you on that one.
No, I think you're allowed to think broadly, but also ask yourself and answer yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. I think you've just done exactly that.
You agree with my thoughts? That was my question. To say, do you agree with my thoughts?
No,
if you disagree, what are your thoughts?
No, I'm saying to you that you've asked me a question that you've also answered yourself in your closing. There's nothing more I can say.
I want your answer though. Yeah, to say this is my thinking and this is what I'm thinking things can work out. But do you agree with my thinking, or you have a different thinking? What is your thinking on that one?
Let me respond. I think in what you're saying, I hear you 100%, and I also hear Nhlamulo's rhetorical response. Nhlamulo and I will be back in the party at some point. That's it.
Okay. Brian, your time is up.
Yeah, I think yesterday we said that. I think we said that.
And we haven't left.
If let's say, because journalists, yeah, we're expelled by non-members. So, we don't know how this actually works.
Okay. Brian, thank you, my brother. I'll bring you back. It's fine. Let's hold it there because of time. Nape, please come in. Please keep it short, my sister, because of
No,
time.
I'm going to keep it short. I think they already addressed most of the issues. Hi, Tutu. Hi, Nhlamulo. My issue is that mainly because of they already addressed a lot of issues. Nhlamulo, I have a question. Yesterday, when you did the press conference, you had indicated that your lawyers are going to approach the court on an agent basis. Don't you think that if you said that Jacob Zuma was a chess person or very strategic person, and we must not underestimate, wouldn't it be better for you to consult him as to the agenda that you think is the liberation agenda, not necessarily politicking? Because if that is the chess that is playing, and then you're going through the legal route, how is it going to affect the relationship? And to do as well, the question for you is that yesterday as well at the press, you had not had an opportunity to have a conversation with Ubaba. So were you able to have a conversation, and then his thought about where you are currently, and then when are you planning to approach the court, and then when are you going back to being a member as expelled by non-members?
That was a mouthful. Let's start with the first question. Please contextualize your first question.
You said you had instructed your lawyers to approach the court on an agent basis. Now, I'm thinking about the agenda that obviously you had mentioned that there's an agenda, liberation agenda. So wouldn't it been better for you to had approached the president to say that this is the route that we were thinking, because of we feel like the liberation agenda has been hijacked? Him being a chess player and a very strategic person that you said we must not downplay him or underestimate him. Most probably he should have had an idea of how he's going to maneuver, but then that had not happened. Hence,
Okay, so let me answer. Yeah, on that one, I get it now. I think in the statement we're quite clear to say that we are communicating with the SG to understand which prescripts of the constitution he used to expel us. And then we also then go and say that pending his response or non-response would still continue to file an urgent, court process or an interdict with the High Court. I think we touched on that question, because remember, the Constitution says that you must exhaust all internal processes. But how do we exhaust all internal processes when we were not subjected to internal processes? In other words, we were not, firstly, there was not a complaint that was laid with the prosecutor that was then raised with us to say, Dudu, Nhlamulo, in separate letters, both of you were interfering in Muzi's move from this hospital to that hospital. We're giving you 48 hours as per what the Constitution says. And the prosecutor then says, okay, I'm giving you 48 hours. When I receive your responses, I then use those responses to make a determination as to whether those responses coming from you as accused from this complaint must culminate into charges. And then you then go through an NDC process. That NDC process, then you make your own representations, and Dude would say what she has to say, I would say what I have to say, and then they come to sanctions as per Section 3 of the Constitution, and then a decision is then made. And then, if we disagree with that, we can then go to the National Disciplinary Appeals Committee. Unfortunately, also, is that then National Disciplinary Committee will be presided over by the the national officials, who already we know are not for us. Then the worst case scenario after that, our only remedy would be where the president then says, okay, as a president, I'm then intervening and saying I'm going to now release, based on my presidential decree, that says that if there's any outcome of the NDC or the appeals committee, that I must intervene and then, release or institute, based on my powers, a decree that says that I am now revoking or extinguishing any outcome because I believe that it's going to sow divisions within the party or it destabilizes the unity of the party. So we never went in through any of that. And that's why we are now saying we've not been given that opportunity. The only opportunity we've got is to go to court, because you can't appeal an outcome that was not processed by the NDC. We can't.
Can I ask you a question then, based on
Please,
what
this is your last one,
yeah,
Mapele.
it's just a follow-up. Based on what he's saying, you had mentioned to say that, remember, you are being expelled by people that are non-members. Constitutionally, how do a non-member expel a member of Umkhonto weSizwe? For you to be able to even think of the legal route, as compared to say that, but then you are not a member, so you cannot apply the Constitution that you are not a member of to expel members of the organization.
I think that's a very good question to ask the spokesperson or those individuals that are non-members.
I mean, then it's fine.
No, but I'm just saying, well, how am I going to answer you? Because
Hear you, hence I'm saying no. It's fair enough. Dudu can answer her question. I know that I'm putting you on the spot, but then I don't. I think for me it was on a basis that I'm asking myself if you still have access to Baba in terms of the liberation agenda that you would have just said. I think we're missing something, but then it's okay.
Here's the thing: it's not about access to Baba. If there's one thing that I think, let's be honest about, is that MK Party is not like they've been saying a family stock fell, and the fact that you're raising Ugutu must go and engage in Baba, as if we're now going to say, Baba, hey, Baba, please bring us back. No. I think what has been demonstrated over the past week is that MK Party is not a family stock fell. And that when Dudu and I come back, we'll have demonstrated that MK Party is not a family stock fell. and that hopefully that narrative was going to come to an end, that MK Party is not a family stokvel. We were expelled, Tina, as people that are known as Baba's kids, from the party. And if the court brings us back, then no one can come and say that MK Party is a family stokvel. So we're not going to go to Baba to say, Baba, please can you sign this decree? Baba, can you please bring us back? No, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. Why must we do that? If we believe, the both of us, truly, that MK Party is a liberation movement, it's not a family stokvel, why must we do that? We have to keep president out of this and follow procedure lawfully, the constitution of the party, and that's what we're going to do. And challenge it accordingly. That's it. Nothing else.
What was my question?
My question was that yesterday you had indicated that you had not had a conversation had time to have a conversation with Ubaba. And I remember in our previous live with you, you were saying that no, you always have a conversation over tea. So were you able to have a conversation and get his thought process on where you are today in terms of your expulsion?
He's in KZN, I'm in Joburg. I don't think this is a conversation for the phone. So we will see each other soon though.
Thank you, Nape. Please, we lost Umtolo, but yeah, he had to wait. Please come in, Luca.
Good evening, Comrade Zizi. Good evening, Comrade Dudu and Comrade Nhlamulo and everyone. Comrades, mine is just simple. I will also be short. Comrades, the reality of the matter is that MKP has long been hijacked. MKP is in deep trouble. Ubaba himself is under pressure. He's in dire situation. So the other reality of the matter is that we cannot shy away from the fact that Ubaba is the president of the MKP. And therefore, if we are not happy by what has been communicated by the SG, Ubaba obviously should supersede the SG. So going to Ubaba doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to him as a father, but you are going to him as the supreme leader of the organization, as he's the one who has been doing appointments. So I just want to assure you that your blows are felt in the MKP. Some of them are very scared of you because they made you to be normal members first, and then they expelled you in a in a television. Whereas a normal member is ought to be dealt with by the branch, not by the national structure. So it means that whatever that you've been doing there, it's felt, it's effective, and it's efficient. But my worry is that if you go the legal route, as Unepe has previously pointed out, that will bring more pressure to Baba. Whereas I think the meeting that Tutu is planning would do justice before approaching the legal route, because you will be talking to Baba as the president of the organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come in, Timo. Oh, do you want to answer?
Yeah, just quickly. I think we also intimated in our previous response to that, is that we cannot, by virtue of our privilege as ordinary members now of MK Party, now go to say, Baba, please intervene. I think it then gives credence to this perception of it being a family stokvel, or because we've got privileges, now we're being brought back. No, I think this is a true test to the constitution of MK Party and the democratic process of the party itself. So we don't want to go to Baba and say, Baba, please save us. No. We want to test the constitution, because this has got to do with every single member, not just us as founding members. Every single member. So going forward, it must never be done to even any other member of MK party.
No, you are clear. I think you've answered that one. You're very clear on that. Timo, please come in. Word of the day, please come in. Okanye Mtolo Kabungen, you can quickly come in. You are not even an MK member, Kakat.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I
Yeah,
speak?
I'm not.
Sorry,
I
word
will
of the
never
day.
be.
Sorry, just give up. Mtolo Pezans. Gena, but.
No,
I'm
no, you
not. I
see
will
now you're
never be
being,
to know.
I was here long.
Okay, please come in. Word of the day. Mtolo dropped again. I think he has problems with his network. Please come in. Word of the day.
How are you? I don't know how to say your name. What?
Please ask the question, my brother. We will answer
I don't have
because
a
of time.
question, but
Nhlamulo, hi, good evening, yes.
yeah, this guy has the answer for everything. How come does he have an answer for everything?
Is that the only
No,
question
no,
you
I'm
have?
asking him. I'm directing to him. Everyone comes in, they walk in, they question, he answers. He has the answer for everything.
So what do you want him to do? Can't his point here is answering. What do you want him to do?
Let me respond to him and say that.
No, please make it short because I don't want us to entertain him.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, don't
if-
disrespect me. Don't.
No, just to say to you that, by the way, if you don't know, the name Nhlamulo is a Shangan name for answer. Maybe that's where it comes from.
So you fought with Dingan and Shaka.
No, my name means Nhlamulo. My name Nhlamulo means answer. So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. It comes from the gods.
So hence I asked the question whereby everyone comes in, they ask you a question and you have an answer. You can become the president then.
No, wait, don't. Hey, you want to get me murdered?
No, unfortunately, I am the host, so we are not entertaining you. Please come in, Maza. Maza,
Thank you. Yes, Zizi, I'm here.
yeah,
Here.
please
Don't
come
drop
in.
me again. Hi, Zizi. I have one question. But first, before I ask my question, I want to say to Dudu, you did well. Ukuthi udile no Floyd. You did well up because Floyd zange join EMK because
Yeah,
really
bro.
wayethanda.
Yes.
Floyd why join EMK because really personal issues no Julius Malema wona sizibonayo ngoku, and he thought ukujoina kwakhe MK uzaba ngupresident we-MK because unalento oyocinga ukuthi nguye yedwa ungqondo, and I'm so happy that you dealt with him. Okay, when it comes to Nhlamulo ndiphinde ndize kuye, yes, I just imagine MK ngaphandle kwakho no Dudu really because andifuna uxoka ndiyimember ye-EFF but umsebenzi wakho ubumhle bubonakala. Even my president even said, I think you guys work in a portfolio together. Wayithetha kamnandi ngawe, it was so easy to work with you, you are so smart, yabo. So, but my question is kuni noyi-two, ndibona mna zonke niphezu ko-SG unomvalo, but umntu waqala lento, umntu waqala ukuza noxova wane-beef nawe noDudu, it was Judge Hlophe. Why yena uJudge Hlophe nimyeka? Because iqalwe nguye lento, waqala wane-issues ebhalela ileta uPresident Zuma ukuthi nina ni-ungovernable kula parliament wena Nhlamulo no Dudu. So why yena eyekwa? Why ngunomvalo ngoku senguye lona ungathi nguye lona uxosha nina, but lento yayiqalwe umuntu oyiqalile yanguJudge Hlophe. That's my question. Thank you.
I can respond to that one.
Please do.
Okay, so let's just take a step back. So when I came to Parliament, I became the whip of communications as well, besides being a member of Parliament, right? And I felt that I cannot occupy whip of communications, spokesperson, and member of Parliament sitting in the portfolio committees. I said, I can't. So I have to relinquish some of the roles. That's why at one point I said, I want to resign from Parliament to focus on the party, because already then I could see that the party is undergoing a hijack and a coup. And I said, comrades, we have to go back to the party because we've left the president alone. Dudu will tell you, we were sitting in a workshop, remember, in Cape Town. So let me start there. The issue of Ujaslope and Colleen. Colleen is a person that we said, Dudu and I, we advised that this is the biggest wrong move to appoint Colleen as a chief whip because we know the people that funded her have got a total different agenda to what we stand for when it comes to Palestine. So we cannot have a situation where a person that was starting their own party, Sarah, and was funded by the people that go against the agenda of liberating Palestine, firstly. But she was then appointed. Let me also share with you, the same person said to me over breakfast, Colleen, because I have to say this, said that Dudu and I, it was in March, that Dudu and I were going to be removed from parliament, and the plan by Floyd and her and another person, whom I won't name now, that we must be removed from parliament in June. By then, she then became chief whip. I had stepped down from whippery. I didn't want to be part of the whippery. But I was then brought in to say I must be a deputy whip, which I didn't want to do, but I was brought in. Now, the issue, what you're finding is that, when that announcement came about, firstly, Dudu and I never occupied any roles in parliament in terms of the whippery, which is like the management of the caucus. We never had. So again, like now, we don't have powers. They still targeted us. In the whippery, they still targeted us. So it has always been a Dudu and Nhlamulo agenda. So what then happened? I then said, I have no problem. I didn't even want to be part of the whippery. As long as I was still fulfilling my roles as a member of parliament, I was going to continue to do so. So
Yeah,
when you're going to
save it
Yeah,
there
when you go to
because
talk about those,
Lomdebebuza has left. Lomdebebuza lumkile ngoku, and because of time.
yeah, Dr. Slope is a father to us. When Dr. Slope came to MK Party, he never gave us problems. And I'll say it, like what Tony Yengeni and the problems that he's creating. Never. In actual fact, I'm going to say it. When Tony Yengeni came to this party, 2 weeks in to his role, he's the one that was pushing and that forced for Dr. Slope to be suspended. For what? Because he removed Colleen from being chief whip when he's responsible for parliament as a party leader. It's not the president's decision. So those things we must also highlight. And then all of a sudden, man is finished chelong about Colleen, a Bantu who only had less than 1% of control of his party. Please, man, respect us, man.
Zizipho is happy.
Because no, I'm looking at the time. Okay, let's do this. Mtolo, please quickly come in because you're not even a member of MK. I don't know what you want to ask. Please quickly come in.
See, Father, you are also not a member of MK.
Come in.
Do you hear me?
We can hear you.
No, thanks. I want to ask Ududu, Uguti, does she really strongly believes that Ungamalala is not part of this decision of them getting expelled? With the history of knowing Ududu has been with Ubaba Wake from the days of 2005 where he became prominent up until she has been there for his father, for her father. She has been there. Does she really believe that people can just expel her out of MKP without him endorsing that, having known how he leads when he's in control of when he's at the helm, that you just don't take decisions that he doesn't agree and those decisions succeeds? Does she really believes? I'm saying this
because there's a rumor that Nomvalo is spreading. They mustn't ask me where is spreading that. Remember when Floyd left, he said there's a lot of investment of funds in the MK. And then that's why when he fought with Nhlamulo, and it was about because he wanted to put an investigation. And Nomvalo is spreading that apparently it has been discovered that they've embezzled around 7 million. Is it that not true that because they've embezzled 7 million, that it has allowed Ungamalala to also agree that they must be expelled? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So on the point, because it actually links to the following. Do you know that, by the way, Colin used Unomvalo at the time as a chief whip to formulate charges outside of the party's NDC process? Because remember, you can't have, as parliamentarians, your own disciplinary process. Colleen formulated, and she wanted to set up her own NDC in parliament. How do you do that when you're declared there by the party? And then she used Nomvalo to be the one that formulates charges against Dr. Hlophe. So what I can tell you is that Dr. Hlophe was being targeted by Colleen and Nomvalo. Nomvalo is part of the Colleen agenda. Let's just make that very clear. He was formulating charges on the basis of what? Who are you as a parliamentarian to go and formulate charges against your party leader in parliament? Who are you? So, Unomvalo himself is a problem. The issue of the monies and whatever the case may be.
Let me take that one. It was addressed to me.
Yes.
Hey?
No, I just want to touch on the following.
Okay.
By the way, Colleen suspended the chief, what's her name, Vanessa? She was what at the time? Chief of staff.
Yeah.
She suspended the chief of staff. It's in the papers. I mean, it was everywhere. And then what she then did, because of the income of the chief of staff, she wanted to use that as an income for her husband and her company. She then wanted to appoint her husband and her company to fulfill the role of the chief of staff. So on a monthly basis, so that she gets more money. It's a fact. So don't come and tell us about Colleen Nabo Nomvalo, man, please, guys.
Yeah,
These people are a cabal for the longest time.
In responding to your question, for me, they must bring evidence. I can't respond on rumors, street talk, or whatever. They bring the evidence and they ventilate it with forensics, whatever, then maybe we can engage, but I can't respond on gossip. Thank you.
Really.
Okay. Thank you, Mtolo Ndiyakuthoba ngoku ne. Guys, we are not accepting any more people. You guys are the last people in the panel now because I'm only accepting the last person, Umakanya, and then we are done. Please come in, Sikelela. Chilis, I'm gonna give you last since Bobuke wangene qaleni ne. Gena Sikelela, then Sofa Kumcheng.
Greetings, Makabane. Sawubona sisidudu nawe baba Nhlamulo. Ndiyavakala.
Sobulisa ngene emxholweni kusebusuku ngo.
All right. My question was, guys, kwi MK ndiyaniva neniyatsho kamnandi. There is this problem that you did mention, Nhlamulo, earlier on, that you guys were expelled by non-members of the MK party, of which that is raising too much concerns. You were expelled by non-members of the party. What does that tell us about the party? And what will be the future of the party now that the daughter of Obaba is also not part in the ears of Obaba? Because as for my knowledge, Ududu Galogena always goes to Ubaba and say, Baba, this and this is happening now at the party. So are you aware of this one and all that? And I'm so surprised that you didn't have enough time to go and speak to Ubaba about this. So the question is, one izaba ithini ke reaction yakhe according to expulsion leyenu xa sele ufumene the chance and all that, and what is the future for you and Nhlamulo kwi-MK? Will you guys go back if you win at court? What will happen?
Hey,
I'll
that's a
definitely
question
go.
for the
I'll
spokesperson.
definitely, yeah, I'll definitely go back. I mean, for me, it's important that the comrades that still want to invite us to places are able to do it, like within the constitution of the MK, meaning us being members that can invite us. They can't invite non-members to programs, whatever. And my brother, we're in politics, hey? I think people must also learn to separate, because I think I'm clearly going to get this question about father, daughter, have you spoken? It's politics. Let's realize we're in the political ring now. So there's no father-daughter situation. So when you say, is he aware of the decision or whatever, I think we touched on this a bit earlier. And I'll say it again, that the people around him aren't good for him right now. Thank you.
All right. Sikelela.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
So Zizi, if I can just say,
Yeah,
remember
you can go on.
Yes, I think one thing that people must understand is that whether the outcomes of the court are positive or not, no one can stop us from attending an MK party rally or event. I don't have to be, or neither does Dudu have to be, a member of MK party to attend an MK party rally or event. No one. Because are you saying that every single person that voted for us, because you've got members, you've got supporters, should not attend? And who says that Dudu, by virtue of her being with her father, can't be on stage with her father and walk on the stage with her father as a non-member? I'm just asking. She's her father's child, ain't it? Not a member of MK. And who says that I can't, as a friend to the family, walk on stage? Who says? I'm just saying. This thing of people trying to drive delineage of trying to separate the president from her child is nonsense. Okay, you don't want her to be a member of MK party, but you can't stop her from being the daughter of the president. And then?
That's why I was saying they must separate politics.
They must separate the politics.
Okay.
Because in any case, Dudu has never wanted to be in parliament, number one. She never wanted to be an official. She never wanted to be in any leadership role. But you can't exclude her from being Jacob Zuma's daughter.
Okay.
Finish.
I see, ending up because of time. We only have 10 minutes. Sikelela, I'm letting you go, ne? Thank you for your question.
Thank you, guys.
So, sure. Mkhenge, please come in. Chile sinzogqibela ngawe, ne? Mkhenge,
Yeah,
please come in.
manibulisa ebusuku.
Please keep it short because of time.
Yeah, no, I will. I-question yami ikubeni uNhlamulo mentioned earlier on that umvelo is being used. Now, we all know that the president is surrounded by the people that are his comrade and they've been with him for a long time. We all know all those people that are around him. My question will be, is he aware of the people that are actually using ulanduka umvelo? If not, Nomvalo, yes. Then if then he's not aware of that, maybe because he trusts them, maybe that may be the reason. Those people, you know them guys, Nina, that these are the people that are actually using these guys to separate you away from the president. Now, if then the president he is not aware how safe he is around those people. I'm asking because Ududu mentioned that there was a meeting that took 3 hours. I mean, we all know that is an old man, is 85 something. I mean, to have a meeting for 3 hours, maybe too much sometimes, it's just my opinion. If then they can do that to him and come back with the decision that they took, how then safe is the old man around them? Thank you.
And that 3 hour meeting was a meeting before the meeting. So imagine how much time they take of his. I don't think my father's safe. I'll leave it at that.
Nhlamulo, is there anything you want to add before I take Umcenge down?
And
Okay.
I believe that there's an old saying: "Bring your enemies closer."
Yeah. All right. User, please come in.
Oh,
Not yet, Chilson Zokobelanga. User, come in.
Hi everyone. To Mr. Ndlela, the MK has gone through 8 different SGs in its short history, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't this SG position just a political trap in the MK designed to sideline and get rid of powerful senior leaders the moment they try to build structural administration in the MKP?
that is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand the. I don't want to sound as if I'm insulting, but the intellect in your question, because when people are given an opportunity, they're given an opportunity. Are you saying that if you're highly intelligent and we bring you there, we'll bring you there to destroy you? Remember, we said that MK Party is a platform whereby all South Africans and activists specifically, based on their competence, will be given responsibilities to lead. But if it turns out that those people that have been identified are incompetent and do not fit in and can't lead the agenda or the mandate given by the president, then, it's that. So then you'd be saying that MK Party is there to destroy. In the same way, you can say that, okay, was I then brought as a spokesperson to destroy me? Are you saying that the president, just because maybe I've not been paid all this time,
No,
are we saying that it was brought to destroy me,
I don't think
be destroyed?
I don't think you understood my question.
Okay,
I said
clarify.
I said the MK has gone through 8 different SGs. So this question is based on this position of SG. So my question is, isn't this SG position just a political trap designed to sideline and get rid of powerful senior leaders the moment they try to build structural administration? Because it happened with Floyd, and now it's Nhlamulo.
Yes.
Nomvalo. Nomvalo.
Yes.
But he's not a
Yes.
powerful leader.
Alright.
He's not a powerful leader.
No,
So I don't think.
what I'm saying, yes, I'm saying that why would the president appoint someone only to remove them or to destroy them? Because by doing so, and do so in a powerful position such as SG, I mean, that is cutting your nose to spite your face. In other words, why is it not happening? I mean, with the let's put it this way. If the president had changed, forget SG, 8 different spokespersons, would you say the same thing?
It's only
I thought
happened
so.
in the SG position.
No,
This
I'm
trend is
saying,
only in the SG position.
no, but you're wrong. We've also changed DSGs, we've changed TGs many times. Everybody wants to just focus on SG.
Lams, I think you're not getting the question.
Yes.
He's asking about the SG role. Is it
Yes,
there?
I'm asking only about the SG role.
It's
Yeah,
like a
only
trap.
the SG role.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying the basis of his question, he's saying that is president not using the SG role to destroy people? And I'm saying it's incorrect. You can't say that the president or the MK party is using the SG role to destroy people. Why has he not used the spokesperson role to destroy people? Why has he not used the TG role to destroy people? Why not the DSG role? That's what I'm saying.
No, but that wasn't his question, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, to answer the question the way you understand it, so that Suzoniga or
I think I did. That it's not there. It's not a trap. It's just what it is, yeah.
No, but that's no. I'm saying the SG role is not a trap. Neither is any other political position in the party that have also been changed. Yes, I'm saying we should not only focus on the SG role and say that the SG role is a trap. I don't think that's a proper
I
characterization of
think,
what's happening here.
and in Nhlamulo and Ndiyakuvama, I think also people, they don't know how much MK has changed the TG. They are focusing only
Yes,
on the SG because
that's my
they changed
point.
the TGs so many times, so
That's it.
many.
That's the most
Yes, we've also
prominent
changed
role,
teachers.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've
So I
also
think
changed
Ngoku,
I think
even
we
National
have.
Organizer, DSG. We've
Well,
changed those roles many times, but everyone wants to
and
talk about
almost every
FG.
time, when you're changing SG, you change the TG. Yeah, well, user.
Yes, and I'm saying, so why is it not asking the same question about the same other roles, using the same thought of mind?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
User,
saying.
time is
Yes.
up. Time is up, my brother. Are you happy?
I'm happy. Thank you.
All right. Makanya, please come in. The last person I'm going to give is Chilis, and we sleep, guys. It's late. Makanya, please come in, Pedro.
Sanibonani njani?
Because there's many people who were on the request. So just know that I made you jump the line.
Ngibonile Nkosi yami. Thank you.
Exactly.
So ngifuna ukubuza la kuDuduzile noNhlamulo. Since you guys were on the ground from day one and uDuduzile have been umkhulu have been umkhulu from day one, noNhlamulo I'm sure have been on the ground from day one. Ngifuna ukubuza ke mina Zizipho kuba ukuthi the decision that has been taken by umkhulu and the decision taken by the daughter of the greatest of all time umkhulu, ababoni na ukuthi Nhlamulo anicabanga ukuthi that step esesithathekile ukuthi cause division to destroy the almighty MK at this critical hour of the local government election, or akukho beyingekho na enye indlela ibingenzeka ukuthi this father and daughter a disturbance ilungiseke private, Nhlamulo and spokesperson relationship ilungiseke private. That is why ngathi ke mina Dudu ngikhuza indaba kaFloyd ukuthi it was better if bekade ilungiseka ngaphakathi. Ezinye izinto umkhonto ukhonile ukuimprove kuzo Zizipho ukuthi ezinye izinto bazisolve internally. You understand? Le ilikhe kanjani ukuthi kuzotholakala uDudu eselethwa public kuthiwa expella, bekungathiwa nje noma bekunga expellwa ngephepha. Uyabona Dudu, noma kwanikwa iphepha kuthi hamba uhlala ekhaya, singazi thina uhlele ekhaya, sikubone ngokungakuboni nje. uNhlamulo anikezwe iphepha kuthiwa uhlele ekhaya. Why kufanele izize public izolimaza isithunzi? Anicabanga ukuthi nani futhi nganza kodwa ngokuthi nize public nizothi we are still members of the MK, sekune confusion there. Anicabanga ukuthi kukhoza umonakalo omkhulu already, sekunomonakalo? Lo mbuzo wami nje kuphela, and siyanithanda ke futhi. Bye bye.
Love you too. Remember, it was the SG who called the presser, so they took it publicly before speaking to us. And Nhlamulo had written on his matter, but he can obviously explain it himself, on his suspension. The SG hadn't responded in 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, but 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks, yeah.
2.5 weeks, yeah. So it's not us. Like, we had to respond publicly. We're not going to be insulted in public and we must just write letters. We must defend ourselves as well. And we've been saying, we've been keeping quiet for so long. Like, we've endured a lot of abuse. This is the first time in 2.5 years that we've spoken out.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing, I think Dudu mentioned yesterday that she was nominated by comrades to play her roles within the party in a leading role when it comes to governance and administration. There was never a statement. There was never a public announcement. When I was brought on board as a spokesperson of MK Party, there was never a statement. There was never a public announcement. But today we find ourselves having been removed publicly.
When we never announced. Sorry, I was just sorry to interrupt. And the public part is, I'm not sure who's been here listening from where we started, that I feel that they are reporting somewhere saying, whatever, our handlers,
We have
look,
delivered.
we've delivered.
Yeah, we've delivered. We've dealt with
Oh,
them.
okay.
Yes. Remember, let me say, sorry, something I forgot to say is that as I was speaking about Colleen then said to me that Dudu and I are going to be removed last year, June, from Parliament. There's a plan to remove from Parliament. So they've been working on this until the time that she did presser. So she's also reporting elsewhere. I mean, how is it possible? Just a quick one before I get off. How is it possible that when you're a chief whip of the official opposition, when it comes to the budget, and you're sitting in the opposition benches, and then they say that the ANC and the GNU votes for, and then when you say, yes, we vote for, and they say, sorry, MK, what did you say? And then she says, no, for against. On 3 occasions, as a chief whip, on an issue of a budget, you bungle a vote by saying, in 3 occasions, you say you vote for when it comes to budget. And then all of a sudden you change and say against. Guys, I leave it at that.
Makanya, thank you, my brother. I'm
Yes.
taking you down there.
Thank you so much, sis.
Chilis, it's your chance, my brother.
Okay, thank you. Greetings, you brother Nhlamulo. Anyway, I've been with you since Tutu. Nhlamulo njani put.
I'm free to another.
I know, sibonge. Well,
Oh, okay, yes.
we are not chilly slow, please. I've been trying to talk to you, but anyway, we are not there. Let me start by asking this simple question, sis, to you. You can start by answering me. Within MKP, political party, why do we have our president, second president, and maybe third president? What is their role? Before I continue, maybe to something else, can I get a quick answer?
I think when the second DP was being announced, President said that he wanted the second DP because first DP's focus was going to be Parliament as a party leader, and then the second DP would be doing most of the groundwork. If I think I'm correct, Ndlela, correct me if I'm wrong?
No, you're spot on. You see, when it comes to MK party, the presidents of all political parties are normally like what you'll find, except for us, we're the only political party in Parliament whose president is not a party leader. Yeah, because of what happened. And again, that is also controversial because President Zuma was not supposed to be in that list. But anyway, so then the responsibility, as Dudu is saying, was then given to the deputy president because President Zuma, remember, there was a court case where he could not go and represent us in Parliament. Otherwise, every single political party president becomes a party leader in Parliament. So that responsibility was then handed down to the deputy president. But because of us being the official opposition, which is a very important statutory role, there's a lot of work that happens there. And then the president felt that he must bring someone, like Dudu is saying, to focus on the groundwork and the party as a second deputy president, of which that same person doesn't even have membership. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to check because I still see Ubabu Nhlamalala being a man on the ground, and it always worries me because it's like even our programs that are being created to pull the crowd, Nhlamalala must always go there. So in 1 week, Nhlamalala is everywhere. So I'm worried. That is why I was asking. We've got so many presidents, and what is their role? So that's why I was asking that question.
The second deputy doesn't want to go anywhere without presidents. So you won't like and I think in the statement you wrote it, Tlamza, it was said that president wants to like take a more of a back seat, therefore the second deputy. But Tony wants to draw. He's an ANC reject, so he doesn't have constituency, so he needs President Zuma.
Well, that's not me saying it.
So put Tony on a poster. Let's see how many people come. Like organically, unless you're hiring taxis.
Eish. Yeah, well, okay. Well, there is a user, Zizipho, I don't know if you're still there. The user was asking this question about u-SG ukuthi ungazi ukuthi kusuke kubekwa umuntu set up for i-failure. I had something to say on that one because I feel ukuthi mina it's like all the SGs that have come in, there is not even one of them that really focused on building up structures completely from VD level. That has been my concern, and I did mention it too.
Even branches.
Yes,
exactly.
branches. Yes, from AMA VD level, because I'm on the ground, so nobody really comes and do that work, you know. So, well, again, maybe to you, Nhlamulo, I did ask this question to Usis, to you, Nhlamulo. Let me ask this question: with what we have right now, what is our future really? What is our future really? If Ubaba Nhlamulo today can decide to say, sengimdala manje, I want to rest, I want to stay enkandla ngiphumule, what is our future without Nhlamulo moving around, you know? So I don't know what to be your answer on that before I pose the last question.
Firstly, Nhlamulo is not going anywhere.
No, maybe if you just decide to stay home, just to retire and say, I want to be home with my children, that's it.
No, I guess, you see, based on what you're saying, is that he would then have been able to identify who the right person is to lead, right? In order for him to take a back seat. Remember, one of the things that we said is that had we gotten a 2/3 majority in 2024 national government elections, and I said also in my interviews, I said, they said, yeah, are you saying that President Zuma is going to lead and become president of the country? I said, no, but president has been the president of the country anyway. But the President Zuma is going to be the oracle of whoever gets deployed as the president of the country. There's no difference here. If the president decides that he wants to take a back seat and be at home, he's still going to be the oracle and the wisdom behind whoever it is that he appoints as president. So,
okay, my
will the
quick
ideology, will the passion, and the vigor of the president go away? No. President Zuma will still be there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you on that one. The quick one. Now,
Can I just, because I'm sure people are going to wonder, I think that he wants to be president.
And then
So when President Zuma decides to sit at home with his grandchildren, that's where I'm going to be as well. Because I serve my father, I'm not here for positions.
Okay, thank you. There's this one, Zizipho, it's my last one. Ne? I did made a video on this one and it went viral, so I'm happy. Ngaloko. Ama political organization wonke anama foundation angafani. Mina, when I look at EMK as a member of EMK, our home, our biggest office, our senior office is eNkandla. So I see ukuthi abanye abantu they've been saying, hi, why konke kwenzeka eNkandla, this and that. For me, I feel ukuthi it's like there are people who will feel like kumele lisuke eNkandla and be somewhere else, like literally house, like other political parties. Whereas I think mina as EMK, this is where we started. This is where everything started. We are more safe there, right? I'm not trying to look into the future too much, but ngithi mina, how can you feel if bengathi abantu let it move from eNkandla into somewhere else, maybe? Because mina I feel ukuthi as long as liseNkandla, the foundation is strong for EMK. For my personal reason, I feel safe ukuthi izinto sa-operator from where everything started from. Angazi ukuthi nibuka kanjani. That was my last one, Zizipho. Thank you for the opportunity.
Can
All
I
right.
respond to that one?
Yeah, when you answer, also please do your overall closing statement, like whatever your closing remarks. Yeah.
No, I just want to respond first, and I'll do closing remarks. Just quickly, if I may. You're saying that we must go back to the founding location of where the party started. We mentioned it yesterday, and Dudu mentioned it. Where you see her sitting right now, that was MK Party's head office. We used to have meetings at her house. All the leaders, the NEC members. We never had an office. We couldn't afford an office. Couldn't afford rent. We were sitting and having meetings with the president there. SGs were appointed in that house that you see there. So if it means, and then now I hear you saying Nkandla. Yes, Nkandla, by extension, at some point, for other meetings, other strategic meetings would happen there. But when it comes to operations of Mkhonto Wesizwe Party, they were formed there at Dudu's house, day in, day out, until her children's groceries came to an end. So I'm just saying, Uguti, if you're then saying, Uguti, maybe we must go back to our roots, I think you're right. Because then you're referring to what we mentioned yesterday, which is the National Interim Leadership Corps, which is like the NEC of today. That maybe we must all go back to Tutu's house, Lapana again. Maybe that's what Zonda Gangaga were not Tutu, because everything was done at your house. But it's the truth. It's the truth. If anyone that comes, any arrivalist will not know that information. Because I can tell you now, the only person that I can say was there, that I remember, is maybe Mkocho. That would be in those meetings at home, at your home. I don't remember anyone else. So I'm just sharing, Guti. People must know. If they're saying, maybe we must go back from where we started. Okay, this is where we started. At that house with that couch where Dudu's sitting. That's where everything of Mkhonto Wesizwe started, including when we finalized the December 16, 2023 statement on the 2023, the 14th of December, 15th of December. We're sitting in that house that you're looking at now on your screen with Dudu sitting there. That's when Mkhonto Wesizwe's statement that she read out was started. So I just wanted to mention that, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Hey, thanks. This has to continue some other day. There's a lot of information.
Yes, and you'd find close to 30, 40 people on end meeting at Dudu's house, almost a day after day.
Yeah, ne? Sister, to say something.
I was just really reminiscing, sitting here reminiscing, but yeah, for us, like for me, like yeah, I don't want to say much. It's okay. I'm gonna get personal now.
Phyllis, I'm dropping you, my brother. Thank you so much, Ne.
Thank you, ne?
Before you guys do closing, Nana, is there anything you want to ask or say?
Greetings, former comrade. No, I do have a membership. My membership on the 16. I joined Mkhonto Wesizwe on 18. It was in Efongos, Ward 9, Nkandla. Surely Ududu is like a visitor in Nkandla, by the way. Is not familiar with Nkandla. Only no Gatagatonuse. When we talk about Ward 9, Ward 5, Ward 4, does not have Uguti, what is happening in Nkandla, guys. So, greeting to former comrade. Nonetheless, my short question to the comrade, especially when it comes to SG, I was very hurt to when you said we never had a great SGs, because when we are comrades, somewhere somehow kunama boxes ngawateka out 5. Maybe Ududu is good in 3 things, but is not good in 2 things. But if you can say we never had great comrade, great SGs, in all the SGs we had, I was not comfortable with that statement. I must just register my disappointment on you. Enye into engifuna ukuyibuza comrade ne, since we are saying nina nizohlala kumkhonto up until leadership izixoshwa, even uJabulani is still calling himself as a member of Umkhonto Wesizwe. I'm still a member of Umkhonto Wesizwe and will reclaim Umkhonto Wesizwe. And you, comrade, we are saying you reclaim Umkhonto Wesizwe. uJabulani is waiting. We are also waiting. Umkhonto Wesizwe nifuna ukephi, because the only person which all right, it's President Zuma. All of us, we are wrong. By the way, there is Happy New Year celebration which we were expelled, comrade. We are celebrating what you were expelled. We are celebrating. If you are saying President Zuma is correct, where else President Zuma used what we call in English a presidential decree? Yeah, it's a presidential decree. It's not an official. It was President Zuma who decided to fire you. Wasebenzisa i-constitution ukuthi anixoshe. And nina, we are blaming people and it's around President Zuma. We are saying President Zuma cannot take decisions on his own, but will be influenced by people around him. Akalona teenage President Zuma. But in the way nisho ngayo, we are treating President Zuma as if it's a teenage. Where else President Zuma usebenzise the presidential decree to expel you? We are saying President Zuma cannot think, but uNomvalo, uNhleko, uTony Engel will think on his behalf. That's my question to you, comrade. Because it shows a sentence ukuthi nixoshwe.
Former, ne? Yeah. Carry on, keep the 7 minutes.
I think I know it.
Namsa, deal with him.
I know it.
Okay, let me respond to
Do you
this
want
one.
to, Nhlamulo, do you want to put your camera on?
No, I can just put my camera on.
Don't be a coward.
No problem.
Don't be a coward. Yeah, Kahle. Like, look so fair.
No. I'm not afraid.
Former comrade.
Yes, former comrade.
Yeah.
No, my question to you, especially Nhlamulo, ne?
Yeah.
Especially to you, Nhlamulo, because I saw ukuthi the barepay constitution ban expel. Nithi mina kusetshenziswe constitution eya endoswa kihuvo eLimpopo ukuthi president can fire anyone kumkhonto wesizwe. It's a presidential decree. If nina need we are blaming people around President Zuma, we are saying President Zuma is a toddler, cannot think. So Tony Engel Novalo can think on his behalf. That's my question to you.
Okay. No. Let me respond to you first and foremost. The current constitution is not the Hoover constitution.
Yeah.
It is a constitution that came during Floyd's time, which he led and was behind crafting it.
Adopted
First
seat
and
for
foremost.
Johannesburg.
Yeah. So Tina, we've been fighting Oguti. It must be the Hoover constitution that must be implemented. Ogoqala. Now let's use the constitution that you're referring to, which is this one. Section 7(2)(h) of the constitution speaks to the powers of the president when it comes to his decree. The decree states the following. It looks at issues of administration, governance, and any operational matters of the party. But the same decree can be used to reverse any outcomes of the NDC and or the appeals outcomes if those outcomes and those decisions taken by those structures divide or bring about disunity within the party. Then the president can then say, me, as the president with the powers vested in me, I reverse the outcomes and the decisions thereof. So the presidential decree does not talk about anything of expulsion. The president, and I said earlier on, maybe you're not here, But let me give you a further haircut because I can see from your profile picture you had a bebop cut. Now I see you got lower hair. But the presidential decree, mangayifunda kahle, hamba uyoyifunda, you'll realize ukuthi ayisho lokho yokuthi we can just be expelled. Now, if you're going to talk about Jabulani Khumalo, let's talk about Jabulani Khumalo. Jabulani Khumalo, we never had a constitution that outlined issues of disciplinary processes. Jabulani Khumalo's process is a completely different one. And I think if you want to know about Jabulani Khumalo, go and read up in the papers and the court papers. The fact that the courts have found ukuthi unamanga. Kahle kahle uJabulani Khumalo owes us millions. We're being very nice to him because all the cases that he has lost, he still has to pay costs. Close to 3.8 to 4 million rand. Ukuthi nje siyamnyeka ngoba umuntu omnyama ozihluphekelayo nje ozimoshekele nje uzimoshele vele sayithule asimbuke nje but he is ima angise ukulalela wena usirasela la usibuza ama question lalela uthi sikutshela ngoba wena ngase yakubona ukuthi ugcwele yonke indawo now maybe uhamba labantu basemzini
hangover from the New Year's celebrations they were having.
Yeah. So I was sikutshele ukuthi don't come here with your Christmas talking to us about New Year's. This is not your Christmas here. And neither are we experiencing any New Year's. We are focusing on liberation here. And when it must be put straight ukuthi hamba uyofunda understand into oyikhuluma ungafiki nje uzokhuluma into ongayazi usichokozela uyasichokozela phela manje bese nje sisho but siyakuthanda uhlala uzivotela and I hope you are registered whether to vote for MK party kuleyo video uthi uthi akayazi. Thank you.
And also, they must know the difference. Ooh, Jabulani is fighting to own the party. We don't want to own the party. It belongs to President Zuma. We're just fighting for our membership. That's it.
No, comrades, I'm best in Mpumalanga, by the way. One of the reasons we defeated the Mary Party,
Sorry, just
High
a quick
Court,
point.
it was
Just a quick
that
point.
presidential decree. Ugutu President Zuma decided to fire.
No, it's not true.
Floyd
No,
did it on his
just
own. Floyd did that on his own.
And just a quick one. Let's just straighten you up on something. When you opened up, you said, hello, former comrades. Now you refer to us as comrades. Which one is it, kahle kahle? Because manje you are slasher now.
But also, in correction, like there can never be a former comrade. President Zuma still calls Thabo Mbeki comrade. So even that, you're just a bit misguided, but no problem.
And also another point, Uguti, you must understand, Uguti, until angithi uyavuma unless if awuzwanga le press briefing yethu ukuthi saxoshula ukuthi thina ama allegations suse umngani wethu kulesibhedlela samisa kulesibhedlela. Is that where you were brought, where you were born, ubuntu lobo yokuthi usebenzise isifo somuntu ukuxosha umuntu kuyiphathi? Does that make sense to you? If you don't even understand the details of what happened, I'm sure now la uphuma khona now mawucabanga kahle uzovumelana nami ukuthi lento eshiwe laphana ukuthi basixoshele lento engekho umsangano, you'll agree with us ukuthi ayikho lento. So asimele le outcome ele process silandelayo vele sayithulela. We've been very disciplined from day one. It's only yesterday last khulume khona, and part of the reason why it's khulumile, by the way, you see, if they'd expelled us, let's just make something clear. If they just decided to say, no, we're expelling Nhlamulo and Dudu, outside, they use other things. But the mere fact you go to them use our friend's death, that's the one where we said we have to stand up and say never. Because they're now politicizing the death of a comrade that they don't even know, that they never even visited in hospital. They didn't even attend his funeral. They are using isifo somuntu, a comrade, to expel us. That can't be right. I'm sure even to you. It can't be right. So we can't sit there. Manje sesithule. Besithule sonke isikhathi. Mina vele ngayithulela for the longest time. For 3 weeks to a month. Ngiyithulela bangisusa. Did you see me to go to the media and say, hi, MK is nonsense. My leadership is nonsense. I never said that. I kept quiet. So you can't come today, Maso besebenzisa a stupid and a very silly, a very undermining despicable agenda to remove us because of our friend and our comrade that they didn't even know, to expel us. No, now a comrade, I'll call you comrade now because I think I've gotten you on our side. I'll not say former comrade, I'll say comrade, I think you agree with it. In nonsense, in
No,
nonsense.
Haters, it's fine. People can celebrate, but the
no.
principle is wrong.
You see, free agent, because you are free agent now. You can just fish anywhere, But on a serious
Especially
note,
the MK point.
on a serious note, comrade, it was very unfortunate ukuthi ucomrade odlulile as if manje khulunywa ngaye. I know ukuthi you are very close naye since from the beginning. It's very unfortunate ukuthi nihambe kumkhonto wesizwe nishiye ngomusa kube naye phakathi. Kodwa on a serious note, comrade, you cannot nisebenzise iside chick emphakathini nizo justify nonsense eniyenzile ngomakhwapheni ngegirlfriend anenechilo. Yichilo lele nindenzile, yihlazo asilazi kwaZulu Nhlamulo ukuthi nizosebenzisa igirlfriend ukulisa impilo zenu zepolitiki. Uzuma indoda yomZulu, ngicabanga ukuthi uyanibuka nje ukuthi hawu lezi ingane zenzani. Zizosebenzisa iside chick umakhwapheni kukhona umfazi aninechilo ngiyahamba nikamile.
Leave it.
No, we must deal with it because everyone else has heard. Ngoba ngeke sikuvumela lobulima owe people cut ukuthi afike la azositshela into angayazi ngoba uyisithunywa. Ngeke sizwe ngeyithunywa ezofika la zikhuluma into engayazi uzosijokozela la. Lalela la ke. The fact of the matter is he doesn't even know umuzi. Ukuthi thina simazi. Yes, ukuthi thina simazi umuzi, simazi uyayanda, simaze ngomuzi. So his behavior is actually undermining umufi and the wishes of umufi. And if he's going to come and tell us that he's coming from Nkandla and he's a traditionalist, ngathi angapokelwa amadlozi wakhe namhlanje. Amfake line in because what he's doing is actually wrong. He's doing exactly what these people have been doing, trying to use umufi to undermine a person that umufi loved and whom they lived with. What does he know? Umfazi wakhe umuphi ushade kuphi umuzi? Has he seen Moses' death certificate? Is Moses married to when you saw his death? So what is he talking about? We're not going to be used now and be abused by some bebop cards that come from Nkandla because they happen to come from where your dad comes from. Come and abuse us here, using our friend's name. Don't come with that nonsense. Ndlela, man.
But it is what it is. He said
Guys, let's do our closing remark. And must end in 12. Guess ngadanga safika up.
You're unemployed, you're not waking up. So
no, let's do our closing remarks so that we can close. It's late. Just your closing overall statement and then we end.
Yeah, Nhlamulo, you can start. So that I can cut you off because I know you're going to prolong it. So start.
I might just be short, but look, I mean, I think for me, first I want to thank you, Zizipho. I mean, I've experienced a lot of your wrath when I started as a spokesperson. I was like, wow, okay, who's this now? But as a sister, a black sister, truly love your work. I love your critique. You must continue to critique us, call us to order, bring us in our space, and whether you like it or not, you must understand that your role...
It was never personal, by the way. It was not personal.
Yeah, we love you too. But you must just know that your role has been so important, I think, to society and informing our people on the ground. Yes, your association with EFF, which is what we're here, with what we hear, nothing wrong with that. We love our black comrades in the EFF. We'll work together where we need to work together. But like I said, remember, the agenda is liberation, and I want to share everything with everyone else. Universalism is about the melanin of our black skin, we should not be separated by virtue of association with black parties. I've always been of the view that I think all black parties must come together, sign an agreement. If a white party can go and sign an agreement with a black party and then govern, why can't we as black parties come together and sign our own agreement? We take control, take power, and then, see how we implement our policies, but working together without interference of frequencies of white people, but amongst ourselves. But I guess that day will come. And I'm glad that, we are finding ourselves having to, even in the middle of all this turmoil, play a role, working with other comrades, working with other political parties. I know it's never been easy for Dudu and me, trust me. But we thank you for giving us a platform. I've never been on your platform, even though
Angikaze ngathuka muntu. One thing about me, you can go anywhere angimthuka umuntu. Angimthuka umuntu mina. You can go any. Yes, I've made a lot of videos about you. I've disagreed with you, but angimthuka umuntu mina. Angiyisebenzisa inhlamba.
ngeXhosa kuthiwa uvuthwe kwesonka wena liceleka
Vuthwa kwesonka. Ngaqala uyiva ke leso isiXhosa eso.
yes, ask them ekhaya bazokuxelela ngaso
I'll ask.
uvuthiwe. But yeah, I'm just saying that we still believe ukuthi the agenda that's been driven against us to separate us with President Zuma started a long time ago. The party is under attack. MK party is under attack. They want to hijack the party. That one we can tell you for free. All these individuals, we're not targeting people just because we're targeting them. We're targeting them because we can see that it's wrong what they're doing. And we'll not stop. Are we going to come back to the party? Of course we're going to come back to the party. No one can stop us. Are we going to leave the party? Never. We're going to grow this party. And we're going to work with the EFF, by the way. We're going to work with Julius. The same Julius I don't like. Wait, no. Whether you like him or not.
Yeah, but you must not use CIC just because Goku.
Yeah? Ini?
I'm not saying anything. You're closing.
What you like to we know each other.
Not me.
Not
Mina
you.
ngeke ngamthu
Okay.
ngeke ngamthuka mina uJulius ngeke ngiyathini. What did I say?
I don't remember, but I'm sure. When
Angazi. Never.
Oh, you know what? Please, guys, we are closing. Ne? Quick. What is your stance on Abahambe Mabangahambe? Because I know you once released a statement, got retracted. There was a statement you once released, man, where what was reverse. What is your stance? I know her stance, but now I'm asking as an individual, what is your stance? It's late, innit?
Hey, man, now you ask me such important, difficult
It's
questions.
very important, this one, and I don't want you to leave it out. It's very important.
Okay. Okay. So that statement that came out was a culmination and the outcomes of the NCOP meeting. I remember you come with an act and then a bill, you come with a bill and then it becomes enacted with the NCOP, and yet National Council of Provinces. National Council of Provinces. You may not like what I'm going to say. You may like what I'm going to say, but it's the truth. If you go and you look at the Hansard is a recording of those transcripts and what happened there. In the NCOP, the discussion and the vote was for the Immigration Amendment Act. The Immigration Amendment Act, the DA, the ANC, IFP, and all the other parties, including the EFF, unfortunately, voted for the Immigration Amendment Act. We and Action SA are the only two parties that voted against the Immigration Amendment Act. Now, what did it say? We said that it says that, and that's why we voted against it, that state resources and the government, when a person is in the country illegally, the government must use our resources and our budget to protect that person through a law process, a legal process. So in other words, you can be in the country legally, and then you can say, no, I'm calling on government to give me a lawyer, and the government must pay for my lawyer for being in the country to represent me, for being in the country legally to represent me, to either stay, if I lose the case, then I leave. That was the Immigration Amendment Act. We voted against it. So we said in the first statement that went out, Oguti, we also took exception to the issue of the illegal foreigner. Because you can't, illegal and foreigner is an oxymoron. Which one are you choosing? It's either you're saying undocumented immigrant or illegal immigrant, right? So that was our position. But people misunderstood what we were saying. Because what then happened is that politics came into it, and then people tried to politicize it. Yeah, you see, MK. No, they didn't understand what it is. We actually, what led to that statement is because we said, unlike all other political parties, and unfortunately the EFF voted, Uguti, illegal immigrants must be represented by lawyers of the state, paid for by the state. And we said, but why? You're in the country illegally. So why must the state and we must use our money to even try and shield you, protect you? And this is where we're standing. And that we must not refer to foreigners who may be documented as illegal foreigners, because that was the connotation that they were trying to drive with it. No, because you're outside of the country, even if you're here legally, you must be an illegal foreigner. We say, no, that leads to xenophobia. That's what we said. We said that leads to xenophobia. If we believe as MK Party, who believe in Pan-Africanism, we cannot say that a brother from Africa or another country is an illegal foreigner. No, we can say an undocumented immigrant or an illegal immigrant. So people try to politicize that.
That's MK's stance. You're no longer MK. What's your stance?
I'm asking personally. Thank you, Dudu. That's my question. You as an individual.
She said to me the statement that was confusing because personally, I'm the one that released that statement.
But then what's your personal, your stance?
Thank you. You've clarified the statement. But now, what is your stance when? Abahambi okanye abangahambi?
My grandfather is from Mozambique, on my father's side, the paternal side. And I believe that we are all African. Let me give you an example. Remember we spoke about individualism and we spoke about liberation, right? The Chinese are Chinese. The Japanese are Japanese. The South Koreans are South Koreans. They may look alike, just like with us as Africans. The fact of the matter is they have their own borders. They have their own traditions and their own cultures in their own borders, in their own countries, isn't it? So we need to respect each other's cultures, countries, and standings in this world that we live in. Migration is a big problem. But it does not mean that we must be xenophobic. What's Nhlamulo's view? I don't believe anybody owns any part of Africa. You can't. Because remember, in Zambia, you've got the Basutus there. That also in Lesotho. So, and if you listen to their language, they speak us. They speak, some of that language has got Tswana and Sotho in it. Swati has got Zulu. Zulu's got Xhosa. All of these, we are one. But what I don't agree with is that we can't have illegal activities happening. And let me tell you the biggest problem for me as I close off. You see, we must be very careful with what's happening here. Yeah. The DA, he must understand, wants cheap labor. The DA does not want South Africans that voted and that vote with their heart because of their melanin for the ANC as they have voted for the ANC all this time. What the DA wants is they want to create, remember, the whites in this country have got private security, they've got private healthcare, they've got private education, right? So they don't need police, South African police, because they've got private security. They don't need a Department of Health because they've got all these private health. They don't need public schools because they've got private schools. So they've created a parallel economy. Now, to support that economy, what do? You need labor. So that is why they made sure that in their coalition government, they have their minister as a minister of Home Affairs. And one of the things that they made sure it happens is that they must go and ensure that the issue of dual citizenship must continue unopposed. So that, and I'm sorry to my brothers and sisters who are Zimbabwean, but it's a fact that even the same minister who's the Minister of Home Affairs is the Minister of Home Affairs coming from where? Born in Zimbabwe. So what they're now doing is that they're creating a parallel, cheaper labor force. And then what they're going to do is they're going to bring in, via dual membership, sign up a lot of our brothers and sisters from Zimbabwe into our country, make them do all the artisanal labor work, and then by virtue of that, bring them into becoming their voting cows to vote against us. This is what is happening. But it's too late. So the issue of immigration goes deeper than what we are talking about, because this is what the DA is doing. That's why you'll find that all the restaurants,
But
security.
forget you're no longer a spokesperson.
So abahambe
Anita,
kanye
I told her that she mustn't get me
abangahambi.
to this point.
Abahambe kanye abangahambi.
I've answered you.
No, you've actually you have answered me, especially then in the beginning. So just simple, abahambe kanye abangahambi.
Bahambelani. Bangahambi, why not?
You know what? One thing about you know Nhlamulo, one thing that I'm going to critique you as we are closing, guys. One thing that I'm going to critique you, and I've always critiqued you guys about, is that I feel like you've never, ever, ever been, all of you combined, been brave enough to communicate your stance and be clear and be unapologetic about it. Constantly, people don't know ukuthi I wonder bayahamba, abanye bathi abahambe, abanye bathi bayahamba. No one knows. You've never been, and unfortunately, it makes members then very
No, we're
confused.
just saying, okay, let me put it this way. We don't want illegal immigrants in the country. That's it. Finish.
Yeah, MK baleka all around South Africa, yama no much and much, bakusitwa abahambe, foreign, illegal or not illegal, abahambe. They are there wearing your regalia because you've never given them direction, and you are part of the problem. Before you were removed.
No, I said, Mina, from day one, even in all my interviews, I said we don't want illegal immigrants in the country. Migration is a global problem. That's a fact. But we cannot allow illegal immigrants in the country. We're not saying that foreigners are not allowed in the country. We're not saying that. But we're saying illegal immigrants. You can't be in this country illegally. Finish and clear. That
Are you
one we
happy
are
with your
against.
members running around with over much and much? Kusitwa aba bakphumi foreign angenu ulantus kungenu what South African. Are you happy with that?
I'm almost not in Nhleko.
No, I'm asking you because you've been a spokesperson for a long time. I'm asking you. Are you
Hey,
happy
I'm not
with
a
it?
spokesperson anymore. I'm not a spokesperson
No, but
anymore.
when you were, this has been going on and you never said anything.
No, I released a statement that said exactly what I just said to you now.
What was reverse? It was reverse.
No, I never reversed it. No, go and check the statement. I never reversed it. I just said that people must not be opportunistic because, Tina, we never voted like the EFF and all the other parties. Let's be honest. Or go to the state's monies must be used to protect illegal immigrants from being removed so they can get legal and legal representation. That's what I said. That's what we said.
Are you happy, Maxetwa Shangane? So Ndlela.
Angishangane nto kusala kudala ngisibiza amashangane. By the way, Tina Mashangane have been developed press from day one. When during apartheid we were hated by Amabunu as blacks, and then we were hated by our own who discriminated us.
But your members
by
are
calling us
singing
Amashangane.
Shangane Su Ndlela and you've never said anything.
They'll grow up one day.
Aibo, You had a position to communicate these things and you've never said anything.
We have. I mean, Dudu and I are the one people, by the way, let me just share with you, where I think a year and a half ago, Ungizo tried to be smart talking about nonsense and Shangan. I think remember, Dudu, where we said, Pele, your mom is Shangan. My father is Shangan. And we raised this issue of saying, no, but you must stop this nonsense. So, Shangan is, you know, I think certain things need timing. And, you know, they'll be addressed at the right time. Those that are trying to mislead our communities will not succeed. And they won't succeed. Because, if we to look at it, Mabati Shangan, they're talking about foreigner. We should go to song as a Mashangan. Song as a Mashangan, because now I'm told your great-great-grandfather is from Scotland.
Yeah,
The way
but
you
you've never.
and the complexion you'll find good great-grandfather from Scotland.
Yeah, but you've let your members run around every day, Shangano Sugu, Ndlela.
No.
You've never said
Ungizwe is a member of MK Party.
No, I'm talking about members of MK that are running around Nongizum.
I've not seen any MK members saying
Please.
Shangan. No, I'll be honest with you. Please send me the video. But then again, what can I say? I'm expelled and I'm not a spokesperson.
No, but when you were still there, it was happening. But okay, it's fine. Dudu. Please say your closing remarks so that we can sleep. It's very late now.
No, thank you so much, Zizipho. I think I am very thankful that you've afforded us this opportunity, and I'm glad Nhlamulo also joined. When you asked me this afternoon about it, I really, really wanted to do it just to also clarify a lot of things around the Muzi issue. That's been important to us. So we appreciate your platform for that, and appreciate what you call them viewers, I'm saying listeners, for also hearing us out, and they can hear the different, the other side of the story, which has always been important to us. So we're very thankful about that. Thank you so much. Your platform is amazing.
Thank you so much, guys.
Guys, yeah.
And I think you've actually managed to be clear now. I think you've managed to kind of communicate and be able to clarify things much better than you did on the presser.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to do this today. I wanted to be more of an informal kind of setup, because yesterday was formal, you know.
So I think that presser kind of knocked you off a bit, but I definitely think you.
But remember, we had limited time. Yeah, we had limited time, and the platform way to get out as much as we could out there in the public. But now that we've got you,
if I was a reviser and you guys told me what you were going to say on the presser, I would have said, don't do it. Just release the statement.
Let's
tell you we did it.
Yeah.
Let's tell you we did it, and it led us to come to you. So we love you.
Yeah. And also for us, it was important just to also honor Ayanda, Muzi's partner. So we had to do it like that.
Remember abantu abaningi no. I'm not in the media space. Let me tell you one thing about politics. You promise us something, we over expect, you don't deliver.
Promise anything.
We move on.
We just said press. We didn't say we're going to do this.
But still, with all this drama that's happening, we cut you off, we focus on other things. So you only have one shot to literally keep us interested. That's how it works.
But I appreciate the advice, though. Yeah, I think we appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Much love, and thank you so much, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Get out.
It's fine. I'll end.